2025 EUIC International Champion.
He's already stopped happening, but he's still got a down Pokémon GO! Give it up for Pato Man!
Multiple members of Peru on Rayquaza, Mimikyu and Reptus. 84 is in, Rayquaza's at half right now, only 10 seconds left on the clock. Tempo is here, but there's just no time. Overlord moves to the middle, and Luminosity Gaming is going to stop them, and they are going to win the AL's Cup.
This is so tense. We see the Phantom Dive, 200 damage on Lugia. Oliver draws for turn.
There's the boss, there's the Luminion, so he has an Ultra Ball in hand. There it is.
Oh my gosh. It all has to come together. Luminion for boss, boss the bench, Dragapult, and Oliver is your EUIC Juniors champion.
Dreamy and Dracloak will be going down. Amy, there will be 2 Duskull in play, and that's it for Nathan.
I think a comeback is nigh impossible, Pablo.
I always call it, and I'm always burned, but I'm gonna call it again. Nathan, there we go.
There is the handshake. Gabriel Fernandez is your seniors victor, our champion of EUIC 2025. Congratulations.
This is where dreams are no longer imagined, but lived. The weight of expectation, the pressure of one of the biggest stages, over 3,300 challenges, and one final brilliant dance partner in Natalie, all stood before him. Yet now, here he stands.
Straight onto Oranguru and then use it for, oh yeah, it's Precious Trolley, getting all of your basic Pokemon out. Whatever 5 basic Pokemon Ryuki wants to get on the board here are coming.
Here we go, look at all the pieces that have descended.
Ryuki is going to be your European International Champion 2025. He came to Dortmund, he won the whole thing, and now he's come to London and won the whole thing.
Here comes a big Astro World connecting down into the Torkoal. No damage to the protecting Calyrex. It hangs on with 13 hit points. But did Torkoal go for Eruption? Which is... No, it doesn't work. We're not in Trick Room anymore. Into the Torkoal there. Torkoal is down. Ismail seems to be once more on this back hoof. That's it. Your EUIC Junior Champion, Fabian Musicant. It's not going to be enough damage there. Ian's Urshifu soaking this up. This game is slowly but surely coming to a wrap.
It has been Ian's that's been going for the close combat.
To Luis Urshifu, it's going to be the KO. We have our senior EUIC champion, Ian Larson.
With the electric drift, it is moving before the Flutter Mane.
Here we go, which is an into the Flutter Mane, and it is going to be enough. Nero is able to close this out with Ferrograph's only option, able to go for the Psychic in Immune.
Wolfclick is able to take the title. He takes his 2nd international championship and becomes your 2025 European International Champion.
I'm just thinking about the scope. I could not have won this final if I didn't have the support of some incredible people.
Amazing, man. Back-to-back UIC.
Ich fühle mich super erleichtert, weil ich war sehr nervös am Anfang.
I shout out my friends, my locals, and my family for helping me to get to this point.
All my family, my friends, I love you all.
めちゃめちゃ嬉しいです。
EUIC was a contest of champions and breakout stars. 25 teams from around the world competed for a shot at the EUIC title and the first spot at the 2025 Pokémon World Championships. Day 1 was the group stage, which showed a wide array of teams and strategies. Local heroes BH3 Esports and Kamai Esports led the way for the home crowd, whereas Peru Unite, Luminosity Gaming, and Orange Juicers became the main international threats. In the end, 12 teams passed into Day 2 and the single elimination bracket. Kamai Esports from EU and from the largest group headed into the bracket with a flawless record. Once the bracket began, things began to heat up. Pokemon like Aegislash and Psyduck defined the tournament, but we did see some rare Pokemon like even Gengar. As the event raged on, our first semifinal was a rematch between Orange Juicers and Peru Unite from Worlds in Honolulu. Despite a powerful start from OJ, Peru still remained undefeated and claimed a spot in Championship Sunday. The next semifinal was Luminosity Gaming versus hometown favorites Kamai Esports. In the closest set of the tournament, the match was decided on Game 5. A brilliant Rayquaza steal from Overlord's Blaziken sent LG to the grand finals. Championship Sunday pitted champions against champions. Reigning EUIC champs Peru Unite versus recent LAIC champs Luminosity. The match lived up to the hype with a back-and-forth series, but a high-tempo Game 4 crowned LG the champions.
Luminosity Gaming is going to stop them, and they are going to win the AL's Cup!
Luminosity Gaming, the two-time world champions, LAIC champions, and now 2025 EUIC champions. Only one question remains. Who on earth can defeat this team? Make sure you never miss a moment of exciting Pokemon competition. Head over to Pokemon.com/compete.
EUIC 2025 was the biggest Pokémon GO tournament to date, and it was something for the ages. 350 players came to London to compete for the championship title. This time, the meta was running wild. Annihilate and Primeape demolished whole teams thanks to Ragefest. Dugong and Azumarill cores brought the bulk, and a few surprise picks like Morpeko and Zapdos shocked the stage. Championship Sunday started with the winners finals, where CZ Wireless met the young prodigy Patoman. CZ Wireless dominated the first two matches with the help of his signature Primeape, but the Spanish prodigy never gave up and won the next 3 games. CZ Wireless dropped to the losers finals, where Cuvia 0-0 was waiting for him. Even though CZ Wireless came from a defeat, he held his ground and won 3-1 in a nail-biter match, advancing to the grand finals. Everyone was at the edge of their seats watching the final series. Switch after switch, catch after catch, Patoman and CZ Wireless were giving it all on this stage. Just as it happened in the winners finals, the German player won the first 2 games, but this time CZ Wireless had a plan and frustrated Patoman's attempt to come back, resetting the bracket and getting one step closer to the crown. Even though the momentum was against him, Patoman restructured his game strategy and generated some of the most impressive plays we've ever seen. The crowd went wild. Cheers from friends, peers, and trainers from every part of the world flooded the Excel London as Patoman became the new Pokémon GO European International Champion.
Patoman is your 2025 EUIC International Champion!
Never miss another moment. Keep up with all the Pokémon GO action at Pokemon.com/compete.
Hello everyone, Adam Watson here to bring you up to speed on the results of the 2025 European International Championships. This event took place shortly after the release of Itchy Pollen Badoo. With this splashable item lock slowing down the format, Dragapult EX emerged as the preeminent deck. In the junior division, Oliver Cahill on Lugia V-Star played Andreas Cadles on Dragapult. In Game 1 and 2, Oliver used his perfect Lugia setups and pressure from multiple bosses' orders to seal the deal. In the senior division, Gabriel Fernandez played Nathan Osterkatz in a Dragapult mirror match. Both players matched each other beat for beat and dive for dive, bringing their set to a decisive Game 3. After being item locked and Iono'd by Nathan, Gabriel set up after drawing a clutch Lance and got to work winning it all. And in the Masters Finals, Australia's Natalie Miller on Dragapult EX Dusknoir faced Japan's Ryoki Okada on Poison Pollen Terapagos EX. In the first game, Natalie had no Pokemon to back up her Pheasantipity EX, and it was immediately taken down by Ryuki's Cloth. In Game 2, despite giving up 4 early prize cards, Natalie struck back with style, cashing in a massive 5 prize turn. But in the final game, Ryuki's champion energy rose anew, By starting Oranguru V in the active spot, it allowed for the ultimate combo to win the game on the spot with Pecharunt and claim the championship.
Here we go! Look at all the pieces that have this ended!
Ryuki is going to be your European International Champion!
With one more International Championships on the books, now's the time to visit Pokemon.com/compete and join the fun.
The 2025 European International Championships was the largest VG event to date. Let's take a look back at what went down during this historic event. It was a champion showdown to start off the day in the juniors division, with previous LASC champions Fabian Musikant and Ismail Ogi taking the stage. This was the 8th time these two have faced off at a major event, and everything was on the line. Calyrex Shadow Rider for Fabian was a strong pick across divisions, and it would prove to reign supreme once again as it took down Ismail's Calyrex Ice Rider in 2-0 fashion, earning Fabian his second international title. In the seniors division, Louis Fonvier was on a tear, winning 3 regionals back-to-back and looking to earn another title. On the opposing end was Ian Larson, who had beaten Louis in Swiss and was looking to defeat him once again. Miraidon for Ian, Calyrex Ice Rider for Louis, and an exciting 3-match series ahead. Draco Meteor from Ian was key, taking massive KOs in games 1 and 3 and brought Ian to victory. In the Masters Division Finals, history would be made either way. After 6 years, Wolf Click was in the finals of an international yet again, and was coming off not 1 but 2 major title wins, having revealed himself to be the Global Challenge 1 champion. Dill Yeomans was the hometown hero, the underdog looking to keep the trophy in the UK, with the crowd standing firmly behind them. Electric duo Miraidon and Furgraph paved a path to victory in the first game of the set, and Wolf was down but not out, utilizing Miraidon to great effect to even the score. In the final game, Miraidon was taken out early for Wolf, and the match was closer than ever. In the end, Dill brought Wolf down to his final Pokemon, Incineroar, but it was just the perfect piece, being able to 1v2 the endgame and make Wolf Click your EUIC champion.
1,400 people showed up to this tournament hoping and dreaming to win the entire thing. But it wasn't enough!
With history made and new stories always emerging, you could be next. Check out Pokemon.com/compete for more information and see if it could be you as our next Pokemon champion.
It's going to be the KO! He won the whole thing, and now he's come to London and won the whole thing!
Another day! Here we go, which is an into the Flutterman, and it is going to be enough.
Here we go! Look at all the pieces that have this ended!
Your European International Champion!
Going to win this dream! Oh, sweet for the grand finals!
Bubble damage coming through, still tapping, some clapping. Let's give it up!
10 seconds left on the clock, but there's just no time. Overlord moves to the middle, and Luminosity Gaming's gonna stop that.
What you got? Yeah, they already know. You got your sights set on victory road. Show 'em what you got. Yeah, they already know. You got your sights set on victory road. Put your hands up. Put your hands.
Hello everyone and welcome in to the EUIC Preview Show. This season has been heating up. We've got another IC coming down the pipeline, and we're here to set the stage and make sure that you, the viewers, are prepared for all the action about to go down. My name is Adam Watson and I am joined by
Rachel, aka Seltzer. So lovely to be back with you, Adam. And like you said, we have so much to get through. We have all the giveaways and online drops that are going to be happening for everybody watching at home. We have all the stuff to get through that our contestants and competitors will be picking up. And of course, we've got our brilliant panel of experts to really break down what's to come in this huge competition. We're pretty lucky.
Yeah, they'll be breaking down the storylines, the players that we're going to be keeping an eye on for this big competition, and we have some interviews to go through as well. But to kick things right off, I want to take a look at the welcome kit. This is one of my favorite parts of the preview shows, is to see the cool swag that our competitors that are making the journey all the way to London to play in this massive tournament are going to get. Check out this kit. You get the hat, the bag. These mats are so cool. I love the mega Pokemon they're doing for these competitions. And don't forget the special Ultra Ball promos. This is a signature card for the Pokémon TCG and one of my favorites. It's going to be a mainstay going forward.
It's a great looking card, a nice one to have with that Pokemon International stamp on it. Those are rare and special. Of course, that's not all we're giving away. If you happen to make top 8, Well, we've got another way to commemorate that. These are our top 8 playmats, and as you said, just that beautiful Mega Charizard on there. Love the blue.
But there is only going to be a handful of champions crowned, and they are going to get an even more select mat. Check out this Mega Charizard champion mat, highly coveted, alongside all the rest of the accolades that come alongside getting that big win.
Absolutely. Those are the prizes for our various competitors as they rank in the competition, but well, they've got a lot to get through before anyone gets to claim any of those mats. And of course, helping us break down the competition, we have some geniuses from each of our 4 pillars in competitive Pokemon. We have, should we bring them all out right now?
We're going to bring them out in just a second.
Okay, go ahead. What else do we have to get through?
We have some special goodies for the audience at home.
You're totally right. There's like a whole separate thing for everyone watching.
Oh yeah, I know. My greedy viewers at home are going to tune into the EUIC broadcast, and they are going to get these amazing drops. So let's take a look right now at what the people at home are going to get for tuning into this competition.
See, you say greedy, but I say they're entitled. If you tune in, you absolutely deserve to take this home. First up, we've got our drops for Unite. You can grab yourself a sticker and an emblem. Very nice, very classy.
I think that this is par for the course for Pokemon Unite. I mean, you've got to start somewhere. The sticker and the emblem is going to be great. But getting past through Unite, we've also got Pokemon GO on docket. You're going to be getting a nice Dugong here with a special Elite TM along with some candies to help out as well. Add this Dugong to your team. We'll hear a little bit later on from Will to see how far the Dugong is going to go. I know the meta has been really shifting in that game overall, and as we spin over to TCG, we've got some fantastic avatar items, sleeves, a deck box, a fantastic coin, and a jacket for your TCG Live avatar. Pretty nice, but that is not all. TCG's got the goodies. Keeping on coming. Ascended Heroes is the new booster pack available in the client. We can go ahead and get 4 copies of those as you tune in, redeem those codes, and add some new Ascended Heroes to your decks, as well as these special illustration rares, the new Enzork EX and Marnie's Grimmsnarl that are being reprinted in Ascended Heroes. Special illustration rares are the cream of the crop for the TCG right now. If you're a collector, they're all that you're ever going to want, and sometimes hyper fans of these new decks want to swag out their deck to the maximum.
Yeah, and this is a great way to pick them up. All you got to do is tune in and grab that code when that goes live. Those are those Twitch drops. But we also got something for our VGC viewers as well. You remember Kinagawa's Hisuian Typhlosion and the splash that made on the scene? Well, now you have the opportunity to get your own. And we have our own back here on set. I'm gonna grab them while we're off camera.
Typhlosion, let me tell you, just a quick aside, when this Pokemon was revealed, there was a lot of doubters out there, but the real ones knew that Hisuian Typhlosion was going to find its place in the sun, and now Kinagawa has shown us how truly fearsome this Pokemon can be. But it's not the only ferocity to be on the broadcast, because now we're gonna bring in our panelists to break down their individual games. Welcome in, everybody. How you feeling?
We're doing good, Adam. Thank you so much for bringing us all in. I was excited to jump in, but then you had more to talk about, so I understand. But this is great to be here. I'm so excited.
Of course, for those of you who are just tuning in, this might be your first show. We've got Sierra Dawn down in the corner representing VG. We've got Joe Bernard for TCG, Will Dumpy for Pokemon GO, I think you see there, and Zoinks for Unite. Hey.
Wow, we got a huge event ahead of us, and we assigned you a lot of work and preparation for this, so I think that we're going to get right into it, so let it all shine for y'all. Just as we're checking in, though, any quick hellos before I put you to work? Zoink, start us off.
Yeah, sure. It's great to be here. I mean, I'm super excited for this tournament. Obviously, these international championships are such a highlight throughout the entire year, maybe surpassed only by one singular event that we're all thinking about, but that is what all these teams and players are already thinking about, too. For Unite, it's a very special tournament. We're going to award our very first World Championship spot for the first team to qualify for that event is going to be be at EUIC, which is so exciting. We got a whole change to some regional leagues going on throughout the season. We're going to get to see those teams clash internationally as well, which is really fun. They've been playing a lot of just each other in region, and now we're going to see that clash happen live on stage between North America, Europe, and some of these LATAM teams. So I can't wait.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And with the top of the show, we've got so much more information and storylines to dig into. Welcome in Joe as well, representing TCG. Any opening thoughts to kind of set the stage for the folks at home?
Yeah, I'm always excited for the EUIC. It's just an hour drive for me, so it's always going to be one of my favorite internationals, no doubt about that. Great bragging rights. But for the TCG side of things, it's a really developed metagame in Phantasmal Flames. We've had, regionals across the globe at this stage, and there really does seem to be this narrative forming around 4 decks really making a name for themselves as being far and above the rest right now. That's going to be Gardevoir, Dragapult, Golden Go, and Charizard. They have taken up 25 of the top 32 top cut spots in our 4 regionals so far, and they are vastly more played than the other decks in the format, with pretty much 3 and 4% play rate for the other archetypes, sort of vying for contention. So it seems like everyone's focusing in on these top 4 decks, but as you know, whenever we start to see that metagame narrow, that's a really great opportunity for creativity and opportunity. So really looking forward to that.
We're going to dig in a little bit later as well. I really am curious to see if these top 4 decks are just immovable objects, or maybe we're getting a little bit blinded by their numerical overrepresentation. And Will, I know you've got a big chunk to break down with Pokemon Go. There's been a massive shakeup in that game and their meta as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you watch any of the regional competitions, you'll see basically the Open Great League. For EUIC, we have our second ever limited meta, and this one is wildly different than what we had at LAIC. I remember last time I made you guys guess what the top Pokemon would be. Turned out it was a Rankaroo. It was really popular at LAIC. How about for EUIC, we turn up the dial to Grimmsnarl, Spidops, and Dragalge. It's going to be really, really dynamic and a very different look than what you're used to. I will say that debuffing attacks like Lunge, Rock Tomb, Brick Break, Icy Wind, those are all very common with these movesets, so the switch timer is actually more important than it's ever been. Second point I wanted to make is that for the very first time in Championship Series history, a trainer from outside of region won an international. That was Nighttime Clasher taking the crown at LAIC. Registration for EUIC this year has absolutely exploded. It's over 150 players more than we had last year. And the question is, with 80% of them from EU, will the crown stay in Europe?
That is a huge question to ask, and that's a question that I can also pass on over to Sierra as you take a look at VGC. It's been an exciting season so far. What do you have to tee up for us for EUIC?
It has been such an exciting season, but we're talking about a crown trying to stay in Europe, and that's what we're going to talk about. When we look at Europe, it's specifically Italy. Italy has been the dominant region in the last few years. You look back at the 2024 Pokémon World Championships, you look at 24, 25, 23, 24, so many. LAIC is going to Italy. You look at NAIC last year being in Italian finals. It has been absolutely crazy. But then you look at the World Championships and LAIC this year, and notably, Italy was absent from those finalist spots. But if you look at what's actually been brewing in Europe, every single regional and special event that has happened within Europe so far has been won by an Italian player. So even if we didn't get to see at Worlds or in Brazil them get to show up in the same way, which they still had incredible runs, just not maybe the first place they would have wanted, in Europe, they've just been the dominant force. So now it's time to see, now that we're on their home ground going to EUIC, if we can get an Italian to win EUIC or even just keep the crown in Europe.
I definitely agree. I think that whenever we even talk to other VG players, the influence of the top Italian players on the metagame can be felt just with the way they construct teams, the way they look to these players for feedback and guidance, and the way that they practice with these top players. And going into EUIC, now Italy, are they going to continue to play the Good Samaritan and help out these other regions, or are they holding a little bit back to make sure that they keep the crown?
Yeah, we've got a lot of mysteries to unpack here and so much to get into. And it all comes down to the individual teams and players that are showing up to compete. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at some of those. We sent y'all off to do some interviews as well, so we'll be peppering those in, and I'm really excited to hear from some of these players. But Zoinks, with UNITE, why don't you tell us a little bit about the teams to watch out for heading into EUIC?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of them. I've narrowed it down to 3 for now, for top teams that are going to be you're going to want to watch at this event. There are so many quality squads that are playing in these regional leagues that have kind of defined themselves as the top teams in the world. If you're ever in question who those are, you can always just reference the whiteboard behind me. But for now, I'm going to narrow it down just to the 3 of them. And we're going to start off with Root Dignitas. Now, this is a team I talked a little bit about in our LAIC preview a few months back, but they were playing under the name TTV at the time. But now we get Dignitas into the mix. So a huge signing. If anybody is familiar with esports in the greater term, this is a name that everybody is going to know at this point. Really exciting part of these regional leagues is that we got some big esports names in the Unite space now. But Dignitas is a team to watch, kind of a reunion of a lot of top players from North America. But one really exciting factor for me is their support player, or their attacker player now, Otter, on this squad. Otter is on this really fun win streak where they have now won 4 international championships in a row. They were on the Luminosity Gaming squad last year, which did the 3-peat, and then they won LAIC to start our season. So now they have the potential to win 5 international championships in a row. That is truly absurd. So keep an eye out on Dignitas and the power level that they are bringing to this season.
Unbelievable.
Otter scooping up these wins, going to whichever team is going to make sure those wins come, and we could see a bidding war to keep these players on the team at this point.
Yeah, honestly, man, I would love roster changes and stuff like that. Eventually, one day I'll get access to that. But next, I want to talk about a little bit more of these hometown squads. If you listen to that EUIC recap of last year, you might have heard me say the name Komai Esports a few times. Now, they do have a slight change to some of their roster players, but this is still a really exciting team to be watching. Currently seated at number 2 in the European Regional League. They've had a great start to the season. In my opinion, one of the best defensive tank and support cores in all of Europe, potentially globally. Gecko Kami coming back into the scene has been a major boon for this squad, and having a young player in support in Narami has made a fantastic squad. They beat their in-region rival in Peps, but ultimately failed to the last team that I'll be talking about. But yeah, Komai Esport, another team that I want to make sure, especially fans of European players, want to keep their eyes on.
Is there a specific play style or just an X factor that Komai relies on to remain at the top in Europe, something that Europe specifically is known for, or is Komai just taking it to a new level?
I think if I'm going to lean on anything to define their playstyle, it is going to be flexibility, not necessarily in Pokemon picks or interesting draft strategies, but really just a flexible playstyle. The way their defender and support, I was already talking about, help and enable the team is both offensive and defensive. They're great at setting up team fights by being those main engaged players, finding the enemies in whatever tall grass they're in, exposing them and kicking off a team fight, but they're also incredible at defending their backline players. When an enemy Pokemon dives in like a Leafeon or Talonflame, it feels like there's an immediate response from Gek or Narami to try to defend those backline players and really enable some of these central area players or even the attacker players to play these Pokemon that are more reliant on having a safe environment to level up and get really powerful. So that's what to watch with Komai Esport. Great question.
Yeah, sounds like a team with great communication there too. Sorry, Zings.
Yes. No, they are. No problem at all. And the final team that I want to talk about is going to be BH3 Esport. Now, this team is the only undefeated team in the European Regional League at the moment. They have dropped a couple maps, but match score, they are 6-0 so far over 2 weekends of competition. And they have played so far all the other top teams in the league. So truly a flawless record up until this point, and they are looking incredible. This team also has pieces of the Talibobo Believer squad from a couple years back that really took the world by storm and was one of my top contenders at the Yokohama World Championships. So having a lot of powerful pieces in that roster, and this squad is looking amazing. Definitely, I would say the European team to watch at this event, and getting the chance to see them play against international competition, I think is going to be amazing for them. 1, to level them up, and then 2, having the chance to prove that maybe Europe is one of the best regions right now in Pokemon Unite. It's been a while since they've been able to take that claim, but EUIC is going to be their chance to take that title.
When we hear from players, they're constantly clamoring for how much they love international competition. Do you think that the skill gap has begun to narrow between these different regions finally after we've gotten enough cross-pollination? Or is there still more work to be done?
It's tough to say. My instinct to say there's still more work to be done, but the way these regional leagues have kind of taken the top level players and forced them to have constant competition against them, and Iron Stripeds are Iron, it's really difficult to see what region is the top right now. So that being said, I'm so excited to see them clash.
Well, and I'm so excited that you got a chance to talk with some of the players from BH3 Esport, because I'd love to get a sense of their mental going into a tournament like this. Let's check it out.
All right, I am joined by BH3 Esport Yutao. I'm so excited, Yutao, to talk to you. You have had such an amazing career in the Unite space, but also an amazing start to the season. So I am pumped to hear how it's going for you, but I want to start back at the beginning of this year, Yutao. I want to hear how this dominant European BH3 Esports squad, how did this team form?
Yeah, I mean, hello Zoinks, I'm really happy to be here, and yeah, I mean, this BH3 team was formed actually kind of last year, because I was in Gen 5 and then I played with Cranix already, and we have like some thoughts that we want to play with Resu. We didn't have like the great performance in Worlds. We ended up losing all our matches, and then it wasn't like the best performance we got, but after that we already know that we wanted to play with Rezu and Cranix, and Megu and Saz already played with them, and I just wanted to stay with them.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so you found a core that you already had and added a couple more players to it. That makes sense. And, well, I understand. You made it all the way to Worlds. I understand a disappointing performance, but you already got a great bounce back. You're looking awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you started in our brand new online regional leagues 6-0. A flawless start in match score. What do you think's your team's best strength? How have you had this incredible of a start already?
I mean, I think our best strength is we really work hard every day. We're even watching like every league. We're watching ACL, everything, even LASC, we watch literally everything. And, we always try to work about draft. We have our coaching staff that helping us for stats and, everything. So, yeah.
Ooh. Interesting. Okay, so talk to me about coaching staff. What does a coaching staff bring to BH3 Esport, and how does that help you improve?
I mean, we have a coach that called Remy. He really helped us a lot about, he's supporting us, he's giving us advice before every matches we have. We have Lau for making stats, like what teams are playing, like the mons, the win rate, everything. And they're really helping us before every matches, and yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's a huge bonus to have the numbers behind you. Also know what the opponents in the field like that is going to be, which is really interesting. Which is something I'm curious about you when you're looking across at other teams, and specifically you're playing in the central area, which is something I'm so excited to see you return to that role, because you're really fun to watch in the central area, Yutao. But I know you watch a lot of international play and also other central area players in your own region. So who would you consider to be like some of the best players of your role worldwide? Because I'm including you in that category, but I'm curious what you think in terms of worldwide best central area players.
Yeah, I think I'm watching a lot ACL, Japan, I think everyone is watching a lot of this region. I think the Aki, the player of Flannel, I think everyone know this young player that everyone is talking about, like even his Dodrio or every speedster he played. And I think he every time I'm really looking of him. So
okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. That Dodrio play is incredible. I want to see some Dodrio play from you at EUIC. I think that'd be a lot of fun to see you pick up that Pokemon. But how about just entire teams then? Because unfortunately, well, maybe you have a chance to play some of the Japanese teams at EUIC. I don't know if any are going to be traveling there, but I'm curious, at EUIC, who are you most excited to play against? And maybe who are you most afraid of playing against? Anybody who you think would be a really tough opponent?
I think I will say Dig, because I played with Toonslim, with Talibo, like I really value Toonslim as a player because he helped me a lot to improve. So yeah, and most afraid I will say I think Forest Gaming right now because they are just they're just looking good. They didn't lose a single match in their region, so yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a team to watch out for, too. I also agree with you. You guys versus Dignitas for the Toonslim versus Utah matchup sounds incredible. I want to see the Tally Bobo grudge match. That sounds way too fun. But I want to ask a little bit more about your team specifically, Utah. Obviously, you each have your role in what Pokemon you play and where on the map, but I'm curious about some of the more big picture roles, if you will. Like, who on your team is the shot caller in-game? Who who kind of talks about drafts, and then my favorite, who's tells a joke when things get tense, relieves a little bit of stress. Who fills those kind of roles on your team?
Yeah, okay. So I have most of the time I have the role to shot call, because I right now I really like to shot call. I have kind of all the space I want to give ideas, shot call for all my teammates.
Okay.
And I have Kranix and Rezu, they're young players. So me, Megu, and Sas have the experience to help them, to give them some advices. So
makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, and for the draft, everyone is working on for draft, even the coaching staff.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Rezu is really working on draft. He always have ideas, he wanna test
Does he have a whiteboard behind him at all times for draft? No, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, we all have that channel, and he's typing all the the shots and everything. And about the jokes, Kranix and Rezu, they're young, they're always making jokes. So yeah, it's really good to have them.
Okay, I like that. The young guys are the jokesters as well.
Yeah,
okay, with Kranix and Rezu.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder how they'll feel about that. I'll have to ask them about that at EUIC as well. Okay, Yuta, one kind of final question here before we get out of here. Just because I think you have a unique experience. You've been playing Pokemon Unite competitively for quite some time now. You've played in online tournaments in Europe, but you've also had multiple in-person tournament experiences like Worlds and EUIC and things like that. So I'm curious, what do you think the biggest difference between playing at home or playing at some of these live events?
Yeah, I think playing at home, you're feeling comfy, you're feeling, in your home, but I think playing online, IRL is in person is very different because, you see all your teammates. I think it's even more better because you can just feel how they feel when you play with them, when you win matches, even when you play on stage, it's another feeling.
Yeah, we got some pretty good video clips of you popping off on stage, so I think I can see the appeal and the hype behind those in-person tournaments. That's awesome.
I remember when I was in Nancy's Fort when I was playing with Adesu, and then I don't know if you remember that Eldegoss, and then when he scored.
Oh, I remember. Yes.
I think that was one of the best moments I had on stage, and that was insane.
Yeah, a heroic moment. I mean, it feels like Adesu was born for some of those moments on stage. Cool that you got to play with them. You might get a chance to play against them at this in-person tournament at EUIC. Yeah. Okay, Utah, I lied before. One final question before we get out of here. You've played a lot of different Pokemon in the Central area, but if there was any Pokemon that's not in Unite currently that you could become a master of, what Pokemon would you wanted added to Unite to play in the Central?
Ooh. I think, it's Eastern Zork.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think Hisuian Zoroark, I think is what's been said before. Ooh, yeah. I like that one a lot. One of my personal favorites. A ghost type, so one of my personal favorites. Awesome. Well, Yutao, thank you so much for joining me on this call. I can't wait to watch you and BH3 play on an in-person stage at EUIC. It is going to be so fun. Best of luck, and congratulations on a great start to the Regional League.
Thank you.
That was a really insightful interview. I could tell he was trying to keep a lid on it, but Yutao is so excited to go and play, right next to his teammates and really get into the energy of such a big tournament. And just right at the top of the interview as well, how much study and prep goes in. It's not just about skill, it's about knowing the metagame and knowing all the stats that are going to go into these team compositions and drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with so much studying evident in just one of the games, a little hint of how much all of our players prepare across all of our competitive titles. Mm-hmm. And for a little more insight into how our Go players prepare, Will, what have you got for us on who to watch out for?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, there's so many trainers to watch, so many top competitors returning to the venue here at the XL. But let's narrow it down a little bit. We're going to go to Germany first and talk about the reverse engineer Z Zweilous. Now, this is a very, very talented trainer. He manipulates the switch timer unlike anyone else that you've ever seen play. He just finds these small gaps and is able to exploit them into big gains later on in his matches. So in the past year, he's finished second 3 times, being Birmingham 2025, EUIC last year, and the matches you see on screen right now, which is Pittsburgh of this season. So he's gotten really, really close. And I feel like as a top competitor, he knows what he's capable of. He knows that he can win it all, but getting so close, but coming up a little short multiple times, I think he is going to find himself on the podium when it's all said and done. He's also the master of spice, you guys. If you look back at Birmingham last season, he finished second with B-Barrel on his team, and then he actually brought King Gambit to Worlds, and he's been experimenting with some really cool picks here for EUIC. So if a lot of the trainers are focusing on, the top meta, what they think is the best, he is innovating and reverse engineering this meta, and it's going to be really exciting to see what he brings.
Yeah, when a player can innovate but also have such consistent results, it is a terrifying package to go up against.
Exactly. I think he's eager to get his signature win with a signature pick. Let's talk about my next trainer. The NA bias with me is strong, you guys. I got to talk about Nighttime Clasher, all right? This trainer has come a long way from his first top cut where he top cut in Fresno with Toga Demaru. A lot of people thought, Nighttime Clasher's not that serious. He's just kind of funny. He's having a good time. But his growth has been exponential. I mean, literal hockey stick curve, because he was able to win LAIC just a few short months ago. Very, very talented trainer. He does everything right. He's got great timing, great awareness. His counts are never off, and he is big in the big moments that he needs to show up for. I almost put his brother here, Sustenance Eater, because apparently his brother is like the team architect of the family. So he says when he's looking for a team, he says, what's Harry running? I'll just pick whatever he tells me to.
That's interesting that you almost went with his brother. Is there much of a comparison contrast between the teams that these two brothers tend to bring to these tournaments?
Well, I used to think that Nighttime Clasher was the brains of the operation, but it seems like his brother is the one who's actually cooking up, and then Nighttime Clasher just takes the sports car and drives it to Gold Place victory, right? I'm going to go off script for just a second here. I have a bonus pick sponsored by Sierra Dawn. That's going to be Stone Collection. Stone Collection is a trainer from Germany, just like Z Zweilous, but he's climbed up the championship points leaderboards. He was really impressive at our regional in Toronto, finishing 3rd overall. Can't wait to see what he does. All right, I'm finally ready for my final pick.
Okay, yeah, you've been a good boy, Will. You get an extra player here, but what's this 3rd pick you've got for us?
All right, let's talk about the Spanish prodigy himself. This is Pato Man. You've seen him all over the promotional material for EUIC 2026, and that's for good reason. This is him at Worlds, you guys. Not only did he win EUIC, but he was also on Championship Sunday, runner-up at the World Championships just last year. He's actually the only trainer in history to win a trophy at every active international and the World Championships. So this level of consistency over this time span is absolutely unrivaled. I don't think anyone argues that Pato Man is not synonymous with EU PvP at this point.
I mean, he's also bringing a very high level of style. He's made for the stage.
The aura is also undeniable. Let's be real here. But I will say, let's add a little drama to this. I just mentioned Nighttime Clasher. Guess who Potoman lost to at LAIC a few months ago?
Sustenance
and
Eater, we know, yeah.
Wow, yeah, good guess. But no, they're both going to be here at EUIC. So if those two match up again on the stage, especially on Sunday, it's going to be fireworks, you guys.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, it's always an exciting match when Potoman plays. And actually, was he one of the players that you had a chance to catch up with? Tell us a little bit about the interview you got to do and tee us up.
Yeah, absolutely. So Potoman is so clever. He's very insightful and he's very thoughtful when he gives his answers. I cannot wait for everybody to see this interview. But I actually did another dual interview. I know it was a big hit last time. I brought Potoman and I also brought Maxi. And they provide such interesting perspectives because Potoman just seems to win all the time. He's very consistent. Maxi has come up short multiple times, but he just had his breakthrough moment in Birmingham. Plus, he is a UK local. So it's kind of like you've got this trainer that represents Europe as a whole, and then you've got the hometown UL. And the advice they have to offer trainers is just absolutely impeccable.
This sounds excellent. Let's check out your interview, Will.
Welcome in, everybody. I have two incredible guests here with me today. First, a trainer that's basically synonymous with the EU PvP scene, that is Potoman. We also have Maxi, who is your newest Birmingham regional champion and also finished 5th overall at Worlds. These are two of Europe's best, and we're going to figure out all the secrets behind their success. And they're going to give you a few points as well to help you prepare for EUIC that's coming up in just a few short weeks. So I have two incredible trainers here. Pato, we'll begin with you. You're the first trainer in history to win a trophy at every active international championship, that being NAIC, LAIC, EUIC, plus Worlds. Can you give us some insight into your process? How are you so consistent at such a high level?
So basically, I don't think there is like a secret formula. I think key of consistency is just trying to improve over time. I know like no one just starts playing and he's good at the game. In my case, I have lost a lot of times before like getting to these places in good tournaments. But like yeah, I try to learn from my losses so that way I can improve for a next experience. So that's the key, I think, the effort and the practice for getting to this point.
Maxi, I wanted to turn the tables over to you. Let's get a bit more specific. I think Potoman gave great general advice. Study your games, analyze your losses, try to improve. I wanted to ask you about something specific. So last season, you finished 2nd overall at Utrecht. In the Grand Finals reset, you were defeated by Nickname in a very shocking Game 5. I wanted to ask you, what lessons did you take away from that tournament, and how did you build on that experience to just turn around and win Birmingham 8 months later?
I think even after that loss in Utrecht, I think I was less upset than everyone else. I think everyone else wanted me to win maybe than I actually wanted to win. Maybe, I don't actually know. But even Nickname seemed more upset than I was, and he ended up winning. But I remember feeling proud in the moment that I'd made it that far. And I remember knowing that I was walking away from the tournament, knowing that I had beaten everybody that I faced. It's just Nickname had beaten me twice, and in the more decisive game. I lost my focus. That's the only reason that I lost. There's no sugarcoating it. But I went in with the same approach into Worlds, maybe with a team that I was less comfortable with, but I still proved that I could compete with the best. And since then, I tried to carry the same momentum. Mostly, it was all about focus, and just continuing. It all kind of started from this time last year, actually, at the EUIC. I feel like everything kind of kicked off from there.
It's an amazing thing to see, because when you come so close to winning, a lot of trainers would experience that kind of setback, and they would say, maybe I can't actually do it. Maybe I can come close, but I can't really finish in a big tournament. And both you, Maxi, and Pata have proven that just being resilient, coming back, and just trying again, and trying to maintain your focus is the key. You've both accomplished so much, right? But I also know that both of you want to win EUIC and hoist that trophy above your head on stage on February 15th. So I wanted to ask you each, what does the EUIC meta offer in terms of challenges? Are there any tips you can give the viewers to understanding the format or how you approach team building? Pato, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so as they did for the Latin American International Championship, the meta is a reduced one. So basically that means that like the teams are gonna be so similar. And I think the key to victory in this kind of metas is more how you see your matchups, how you plan your matchups, most like trying to maybe build in a team that is super good into the meta, maybe with some core breakers or some like good neutral Pokemons. So yeah, I feel like the key for this kind of competition is just trying to practice a lot, putting a lot of effort in terms of knowing your matchups, knowing your Pokemons on the meta, also counting like for the big word as well. I think it's important to take into account that you should see more like the plays that the players do more than like the teams or something like that, right? Because you are not gonna see so many different teams, but you are gonna see a lot of really good plays from players that really grow in the tournament. So I think that's the main thing you should take into account for this competition.
I think it's you never want to get to the stage and say, oh, I didn't realize Brick Break would do that much damage, or I don't know if I win the 2 shield in this situation, right? I think that's a lot of what you were saying. Maxi, do you agree? Do you think that's how you're looking at this meta, or do you have any other advice?
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I think our meta for EUIC is slightly more diverse than the LAIC meta was. So matchup knowledge, as Pato said, will be crucial because, in my opinion, Nighttime Clasher won LAIC because he knew his matchups the best. I mean, other battlers ran the same team as him, and they didn't quite execute it like he managed to. So on that basis, I would also advise thoroughly learning your matchups, maybe first by simulations and then maybe by practice. And I would say that practice in real time is probably better because then you can rehearse some potential game plans that you have. And then you can perfect your openings. It's a bit like chess. If you have a decent opening in chess, and after that it's basically just fundamentals and knowing how to execute the end game.
It's one thing to just study a base matchup and say, okay, when the shields are even, the HP is even, the energy is even, I know which Pokemon will win. But when the battle actually starts, things are much more fluid. I agree with you. I think that actual real-time practice is probably the best. Maxi, we'll come right back to you for this next question. Next month, you'll both be returning to the Excel Center, which has been the venue for the 2022 World Championships, as well as the past 3 EUICs. Now, you just won in Birmingham. You're a UK local. What does it mean to you to keep the trophy in the UK?
But this is actually literally my local tournament. I live really close to this venue in the Excel, and we've seen some incredible moments over here, right? We've seen whether that's Dunebug tearing through the competition, making it an EU versus NA international final, or Pato pulling off some mesmerizing plays last year to claim the top spot in the same tournament that Wolf Glick also rewrote history in VGC. But for me, the real birth of the competitive championship series is right here. There was the scene of the first ever World Championships where Dancing Rob climbed every mountain and overcame all the odds. Ultimately, my performances here have been rather lackluster, aside from the last chance qualifiers. But I've managed to right one wrong with my form in the United Kingdom, so who knows, maybe I can right another wrong here too. And also our UK player base here is now stronger than ever, and that goes for both competitors and spectators. The community is going from strength to strength, and I'm always thrilled and honoured to compete this close to home. A strong performance here would mean the world to me.
Pato, Nighttime Clasher became the first trainer from out of region to win an international championship when he defeated you at LAIC. So, similar question to you, what does it mean to keep the EUIC crown in Europe?
Yeah, so it means it will mean a lot for me. Like, for me, UK is not like my local place, but the feeling I have from last year, from winning it all with all the crowd supporting me, all my Spanish friends, even not only Spanish, but like people around the world that always support me. It meant a lot for me, like that moment. It's a championship I I keep on my heart 1 year after, and I will keep it on my heart like I think the rest of my life. So yeah, I want to have a really good experience this year, and also I know I lost that final, but like the thing of being here, being there always in the stage, and having the opportunity to face that good people as Nathan Glacier, that we all saw how he improved around his career, like along his career in Pokemon. Also Maxi that just won Birmingham. I remember when I met Maxi in, I think, Liverpool 2023, my first tournament. It was a really nice experience for me as well. So it's kind of nice, right, to see all people like improving along the way and getting these accomplishments. So yeah, I have a lot of expectations for this tournament, and I hope everyone can enjoy it as I'm gonna do.
I really like the words you used there, Pato, towards the end. You said expectations, right? A lot of people expect certain things of you and also of Maxi. So I wanted to kind of talk more about that, because a lot of trainers will watch you both on stage and say, oh, I can never beat Pato Man, or Maxi makes such insane plays. I'm not as talented as he is. But I think a lot of trainers don't realize that, as you both have talked about already, you both started off not knowing anything about PvP. You both had losses, you both had a lot of practice, and it's taken a lot of work to get to this point. So I wanted to ask Maxi first here, what advice would you give to trainers that are entering a tournament for the first time? What if EUIC is their very first tournament? What would you say to them?
Most important thing is to have fun whilst you're there. Drink if EUIC is your first tournament, drink everything in. It's an experience that's not really matched in many other places. As for how to prepare for it, I'd say practice hard, as we said earlier, for the meta. Persevere. It's not always going to go your way. And the most important lesson that I've learned since last year is patience.
Pato, do you agree with Maxi, or would you say something else to those trainers?
I mean, I agree completely. I think that if it's your first experience in London in the next 2 weeks, I will totally recommend people to not see this like a loss. If you, for example, enter to a tournament, and let's put the case that maybe you have to face a really good opponent, like for example Maxi in the first rounds, and you just lose to him. I think, like as I said recently, that you don't really have to see the vision like I cannot win the top players, or I cannot beat Maxi, for example, I cannot beat Colin, Nathan Glacier. The thing that you have to take into account is that if you lose a matchup, is maybe because you make any mistake. So the most important thing is just learning from those mistakes, and then in the next time you face someone like the players I just named, you're gonna have a better shot, right? Because you are more prepared, you are more in the mood you maybe need to be. So just enjoy the experience. These tournaments are fun for everyone that loves Pokemon like me. So yeah, that's all I want to say.
Well, take it all in, like Maxi said, and always look for points of improvement, like Pato Man said as well. It's going to be incredible competition in EUIC. I can't wait to see both of you. I'll be cheering for you both, and I know a lot of people watching will want to see you succeed. So best of luck. We're going to head back to the EUIC pre-show.
Will, great interview. Really great points from Maxi and Pato Man. And the one thing that I really do like to double down on when a pro player says something like Maxi said, which is you should come if it's your first time and have fun. Because if you show up and you have fun, even though you're losing, even though you're learning, even though other players are being better than you, I think that means that you're finding fun in the whole process of being a professional gamer, not just kind of in the winning or competing process of these tournaments. But, you know, Will, you're someone who gets to talk to these players a lot. I've seen them over the course of their careers. Are you getting the sense that, you know, even these top players, even Pato Man, is having a great time every time they come out?
Yeah, I had a really funny moment with Pato Man at Worlds. I was going to interview him, and before the cameras came on, I looked at him. He looked so calm and so composed. I said, Pato, are you nervous? He said, all the time. I was like, what? You don't seem like you're nervous. You seem like you're in your element. But no, I think these trainers are really excited for the event. EUIC was actually my first ever event for the championship series for Pokemon Go. And I just remember walking around that venue in Frankfurt with just stars in my eyes. There's so much to take in, so many other events to do while you're at the venue. It's not all about the competition, although that is, the primary stream. That's the primary reason a lot of trainers go. But there's the Pokemon community. It feels almost like a Pokemon convention. It's really special.
Yeah, and you've got to enjoy all that work that you do at home, all that preparation for your team. So really great shouts from those pro gamers. And Adam, as I understand it, looking over at TCG now, most of the work, all the work, thousands and millions of hours of work happen before these players even get to the tournament to arrive at what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joe is actually here on deck to help us break down all the time and effort and energy that goes into cracking these metagames wide open, especially with, as you touched on earlier, this looming big four over the meta.
Yeah, and I've picked out some really interesting names, actually, who have sort of tried to conquer the metagame in different ways. And I think the best place for us to start is going to be with our defending champion, actually, Ryuki Okada, who is sort of stepping up from an international champion into, essentially just a worldwide sensation, because he's been able to win a regional championships already this season in Brisbane. He got top 4 in Las Vegas, so he's just doing the whole fly around the world, do the best you can, and is really mopping up, already getting an invitation and already getting so many points. And last year, it wasn't only the EUIC that he was able to win. He was also able to win a regional in Dortmund as well. And what's so intriguing about Ryuki is that he picks up a variety of decks and different strategies, played vastly different decks in basically all of his strongest performances. So Ryuki's a player who will look at a metagame, and I think it's a really good case study this season, actually, for the EUIC. If he can pick up on something where he can get an edge, where there's a lot of people gravitating towards these sort of 4 top decks right now, I think Ryuki is definitely one of those players who can pinpoint that and find a really good combination to have a really out-the-box strategy. So Ryuki, not just for being a defending champ, is definitely a player to watch in terms of how he approaches the game and how he is basically able to turn his hand to any archetype if he thinks it's the right call for the tournament. So that's one of my key players. But then shifting on from basically one of the most versatile players into the game to basically the textbook definition of a one-deck specialist, I want to turn the attention now to Henry Chow, who is currently 3rd in our rankings globally.
Wow.
And is actually, in his standards, is actually not doing as well as he usually does because he's not yet got a regional win. He's just got a top 4, a second, and some top 16s. So
yeah, we'll see if he's going to step out of the shadows, right? Because Abon, I think, has been stealing a little bit too much of his spotlight.
Right. Right. But the main reason I want to point out Henry in particular is that he has notably chose not to play Gardevoir at only ever one tournament since it's been out, and it was last year at the EUIC, where he chose to play Golden Go, and he's basically says that's one of his biggest regrets. So I think Henry going into the EUIC this year really has a point to prove, and especially with Gardevoir, which he's going to be playing this time around, I think there's no doubt that he's got a chip on his shoulder to prove that Gardevoir can still do the business out here in Europe, especially because there are big regional biases between specifically Gardevoir. It feels like in NA, Gardevoir has had vastly more success than in EU, and I think it's because of his testing contingent. Aban and him and some other top pilots of Gardevoir have been having drastically more success out there. So to translate that into EU is a really interesting thing to explore. The same thing really could be said for Giovanni Sasso, who's coming off the back of a regional win also with Gardevoir.
Okay.
But the main reason I wanted to pick out Giovanni was because his list was very creative, very finger on the pulse tech inclusions. He decided to play a Team Rocket's Watchtower and a copy of Technical Machine Devolution. These are cards specifically meant to deal with the top 4 mix that we have right now, especially with Charizard coming up to meet Gardevoir as a good counter style strategy. I think Giovanni really recognized that having the Watchtower and the Technical Machine gives him a safe time into Charizard, and basically that makes Gardevoir solid into all 4 of the decks. So I think for a player to watch in terms of really being on the front foot of metagaming, I think Giovanni has made a really good case for making a really good Gardevoir build that I think a lot of people will be taking note of, not just for that win, but for how intelligent those 1 or 2 tech decisions are, especially for how effective Technical Machine Devolution can be in a Jellicent EX build. If you can Devo with a Jellicent EX in the active position, your opponent can't rare candy unless they use a boss's orders or some other effect to move your Jellicent. So it's a really vicious combination that can swing games back in your favor. And then finally, it's the EUIC. I can't not mention Tord Reklev. He's
that's your freebie as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's been 7 EUICs so far, and his worst placement has been top 32. That's the worst, by the way.
And this is also factoring in how big these tournaments have gotten. He's still consistently rising to the top and setting the I think the tempo for the meta.
To be fair, and even right now, like, he's not showing any signs of slowing down. He's second globally in the rankings. And what's so intriguing for his season this year in particular is that he's normally someone who like creates a metagame by like defining a new best deck, or basically plays one of the top tier decks better than other people and finds small gains. But this season in particular, he's created this Absol sort of mega box, and not many people have sort of ridden with him. He's pretty much the lone soldier out there with Absol. There are a few other players piloting it, admittedly, and actually, interestingly, Ryuki Okada, another Japanese player who likes the archetype quite a lot, but it seems like he's happy to stay out of this like top 4 deck debate and is going with what he knows, what he enjoys. So I was really happy to sort of get an interview with him to deep dive into his logic around that archetype choice rather than anything else. And just one small note, if I can mention another player quickly, Tord is really having the fire lit under him because of Emma Hagen, who has been battling him for #1 rank of Norway, which doesn't sound like it would be that tough, but when you're up against Tord Reklev and they're both at over 1,300 points each, it's actually like the most vicious contended region right now to getting top of the rankings.
Yeah.
Really intriguing stuff. And you don't want to be giving Tord any more reason to accumulate championship points. Like, he has enough of those reasons.
Yeah, Emma, another player well known for kind of sticking to a deck that has just been sort of ride or die throughout the ebb and flow of the metagame. And the fact you're able to catch up with Tord, we'll see if we can get some deeper insight into the new meta for EUIC and onward.
I'm now joined by an icon of the trading card game, the most decorated player in the Pokemon TCG, Tord Reklev. Tord, I know you're a modest guy, but I did just want to give the people some context as to how dominant you've been, especially at the EUIC. So ever since December 2016, the first international championships, where you got top 4, you then followed it up with a win, a top 16, a top 8, a second, a win, and a top 32. That's a pretty incredible streak, even for your standards. Is there something special about the EUIC that you pay extra attention to, or just is it a tournament that you enjoy more than any other?
It's definitely one of my favorite tournaments, for sure. You know, it's the home turf IC, right? So I feel like I have to really give my all. So I usually put in a ton of preparation for these. We've also been pretty lucky often, I feel, with these, with the UIC in terms of how the new sets line up. We usually have some rotation or new exciting cards or new main sets or something for them that changes up the format, and that's usually the best time of year for me personally, because I tend to catch on relatively quickly with the new stuff we're given, right? New ideas, new cards. So I tend to try a little bit extra under those conditions, but I guess that's not the case this year, is it?
No, that's not the case this year, but it is something we'll get on to momentarily. Before that, I wanted to just talk, you were already mentioning your preparation for international championships, and as someone who's won 5 at this point, you clearly are getting something right. So is there a difference in your preparation for the season? Do you pay extra attention to the internationals?
Throughout the season, I feel relatively free on what I'm bringing to events. So sometimes I can bring something, completely whack just to see if it will, hit home or not. And but before ICs, I tend to do things a little bit safer. Doesn't mean that I can't bring new things that I'm trying out, but I need to be completely convinced that I'm not, say, spoiling my chances for a good run with something that I haven't truly, finished testing yet. So I think that is a little bit I think that differs a little bit. So just playing things a little bit safer and just putting in, a ton more practice than I usually am as well.
That makes a lot of sense. So you already touched on the fact that it's a pretty developed metagame for Phantasmal Flames. We've had it a few months. Every region has had a regional championships, at least in this metagame. Does that affect your testing process? I know you're someone that loves to innovate in the game, but is it more about small tweaks for this tournament?
feel like it's definitely more about small tweaks for this one. It's going to be a tournament where it's really hard to gain any sort of edge with, a brand new list, right? So the real edge is just going to be experience in the format itself, I feel. I think the format is still really strong right now. Like, it's a very good format. We have a lot of comeback mechanics currently that we might, miss next season. So we have to value those as long as we have them. So Iono, Countercatcher, and so on. They're great cards for the format and make for very engaging gameplay, I feel, where the best play can very often be to not take prize cards again. So I enjoy that aspect a lot, and you can play in this sort of way with almost all of the top decks, I would say, too. And I think that is very healthy for the format. So I'm looking forward to the tournament, regardless of we getting new cards or not. It's just so fun to play right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think no deck reflects that even more than the sort of Mega Absol toolbox that you've been piloting and innovating ever since the Mega Evolution set came out. Obviously, you secured your invite already with a first place in Las Vegas with the archetype. Although we're not seeing massive representation for a deck like this, what is it that sort of brings you back to that deck? Is it just a playstyle that you enjoy a lot, or is there something that you can use with the deck that you sort of gives you more success than potentially other players?
So it's a deck with a lot of hidden strengths, I think, because the real strength of the deck is that it's all basic Pokemon, but that means that you can manipulate your board states a lot depending on the situation you're in and what you're playing against. So depending on the matchup, you will have wildly different board states and different plans and strategies, right? Different lines. And I think, if you really know what you're doing into the different decks, then you get a much more flexible deck than playing almost any other archetype in the format right now, because then you have much more of a set strategy where you're basically always setting up the same Pokemon, charging the same Pokemon, and kind of doing things the same way. Like obviously it will differ there as well, but I feel that you're not changing up your main attacker multiple different times depending on board state with most other decks again, right? So that seems more specific to the Absol deck again.
And I think I know it's something you enjoy from previous formats going all the way back to 06 with the Stantler Rayquaza EX deck. Was that really part of your creation process for Absol? Did you see that card stand out straight away with the fact that you could snag cards out of your opponent's hand? Is that like one of the key selling points, it feels like, of Absol?
Honestly, that is like a very funny parallel. I guess that was, say, the initial drive, maybe, to want to make Absol more playable, because when it was released, it didn't really have any home in a deck, right? It didn't really see much play. We were kind of struggling to figure it out. So I tried to find a solution for that, because I still thought the card was pretty strong, right? But it had some inherent flaws that need to be solved, like how do you charge the Absol, and how do you keep it alive against the decks that can actually knock it out, right? And the solution is just, you don't keep it alive against those decks, you just don't put it down at all, and you find alternative strategies, right? So that was kind of the breaking point of where I found the card to be really cool. But like the attack of, what's it called? Darkness Claw. Looking at your opponent's hand and sniping any one card you want is really strong, because it allows you to deny your opponent's game plans and say, especially when you have multiple lines you can take as well. So you can retreat lock them, or you can try to deny gusting, like take away their boss's orders. So you can deny hand disruption, so you have all your resources to work with. Like, you will usually find some sort of win condition just randomly looking in your opponent's hand, and if you know all the different things you're after, then you can usually find a good way to secure the game again. So that's also like a really fun aspect with Absol.
Amazing. I still imagine that you're expecting the format in terms of popularity to be centered around the sort of top four. There's a narrative forming that Gardevoir, Dragapult, Charizard, and Golden Go, are they definitely still the big matchups to be aware of for this tournament?
Yeah, for sure. I think we have a really solidified top 4 with those 4 decks that you mentioned. Absol has a pretty naturally strong matchup into both Dragapult and Gardevoir, simply because of the weakness and the disruption factor there. Not to say that either one of them are easy, because they're both very complicated, but I would say that it's built very well to handle both of those. It does struggle a little bit more against both Charizard and Gholdengo, because they have these more nasty 1-hit KO combo tricks they can do. Like Gholdengo just has unlimited damage output, and Charizard has the Dusknoir, which they could use if they also play the Klefki to turn off the side deck also.
Yeah, those definitely seem to be more challenging. Tord, you're someone that's been to the EUIC many years now, and especially London very often. So is there something you always enjoy, look forward to when you ever come to London, or is there anything you would recommend for first-timers to definitely experience when they come to the EUIC, maybe if it's their first time?
Well, I've been to London quite a bit now, I guess. So for me, I don't do that much sightseeing anymore, I guess. So I try to have my head in the game and just focus on the tournament. But there's definitely a ton of things you can see, and it's one of the or is it like actually the culinary capital of the world as well? Like there's a ton of good restaurants and food and stuff you can.
There's a lot of options. Yeah,
you find as well. So there's definitely like a ton of stuff to do there outside of Pokemon. But I'm all about Pokemon, so. I try to have that as my focus, staying really close to the venue, so I have less distractions there, and just trying to have a good time with friends, really.
That's always good advice. Well, Tord, I wish you the best of luck over at EUIC. I'm sure we'll see you on the broadcast. It's inevitable at some point. And good luck to you with your final preparations. Thanks for having a chat with me today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Great insight about the Absol box deck. Players tend to just kind of gravitate towards what Tord Reklev is going to be bringing to a tournament, certainly, but to deepen the understanding about why he thinks this deck is strong, has proven that it's strong, and the different factors thereof goes a long way, and might even make some last-minute changes, right, to some deck choices for some players, because the way he evaluated the strengths of the deck, that it has hidden strengths, really spoke to me, because a lot of TCG decks talk about how can I take 6 prizes, how can I prevent my opponent from taking 6 prizes, but he's like, how can I just prevent my opponent from being able to play the game at all? And so the fact that he's evaluating the meta on that next level was great to hear.
Yeah, and the bravery and confidence to bring a deck that nobody else is bringing. Sorry, that was my only tag on there.
Well, I was just going to say that, especially the insight from Tord. Like, he basically created this deck thanks to his experience of knowing the game for so many years. Like, this is a callback to a deck from 20 years ago. And to see, like, the echoes of one strategy then be brought into a basically entirely new game is really impressive from him. And I don't even know why I asked what Tord likes to do in London. I knew the answer was going to be Pokemon, because that's what he does. So apologies for wasting a question on that.
I mean, he's locked in, right? It's like he says, I've been all over the world. I've been to London so many times. I'm just gonna come to the city and focus on my game. And we know Tord, right? He's like, I'm gonna go to Worlds no matter what. I'm gonna compete no matter what. But deep down, he's a very humble guy, but he's still a competitor. So we know he wants that big win, regardless of what he says.
And the man loves Pokemon. That is something I think we all share here. And whether it's cards, it's Go, it's Unite, or it's VGC, we still got a lot to cover. So Sierra, this long roster of players, take it away.
All right. So I tried to shortcut this a little bit, but they wouldn't let me. You'll understand. But we're going to start off the list of players to watch for EUIC with none other than our LAIC champion. Take it back not too long ago. There's the distribution Pokemon that we're talking about. So, let's talk about this crazy win. Of course, Japan not being eligible for championship points, you have to get top 4 at one of these ICs, and Yuma just missed out at NAIC, getting 8th last year, then goes on to win the Japan National Championships. He has been such a strong player and really just showing up right away here at LAIC, especially too with the team that was a smidge more against the grain than others would have, right? The Hisuian Typhlosion was already cool, but showing up in the grand finals with Flamigo, a great meta call, was phenomenal. Sitting in the crown, this Flamigo hits the field and it's like checkmate. Match is done. It was a really strong set, and for him to be showing up, I mean, yeah, he has that world title, but who doesn't love a second international title and his second distribution Pokemon, right? So that'll be really exciting to see how his run is. And of course, when you're talking about strongest regions, Japan is always one that has a lot of really, really strong players, even if it's not the most players that get to show up to an event. So the next trainer I want to talk about is none other than Shohei Kimura. This is someone who already is in Europe. We got to see him at the Birmingham Regional Championships, getting himself a 9th place, but people might know him instead as the 2023 Pokemon World Champion. He was also 2nd at the Japan Nationals that Yuma won, and somebody too that is gearing up and is ready here for EUIC, which I think is really exciting. Traveling out beforehand to compete at the regionals, like, he's committed, guys.
Yeah, committed, acclimated, and he's got a few rivals in the field for this tournament. That's going to give him even more of a boost, in my opinion.
Yes, this is where I was trying to shortcut, right? So normally when we have these preview shows, we might feature from a bunch of different regions, right? I said, hey, for Europe, can I just say Italy? And they said, no, you actually need to name some players. So we're going to focus the rest of this Players to Watch segment specifically on these Italian players who are also the regional champions that we've gotten to see from the beginning of this all. Starting off with Luca Cerabelli. This is also your 2024 World Champion. Again, going back on that Italy dominance, and Stuttgart champion here within this year. Different format than we're looking at for EUIC, but again, it's the consistency. He has also been really busy with school, so the fact that he's still doing so good at Pokemon is just incredible. I will interested to see how he can do at EUIC considering that all. But hey, there's a lot of Italians going for that crown. Next up, Simone Sanvito, another really strong player, 2026 Gdansk Regional Champion. Again, this was in the Regulation H format with a really strong team. We're looking at the Volcarona and Alola Ninetales, which are not necessarily seen the most often here in this current regulation. So again, it's going to be really interesting to see the adaptations. I got a couple more. Guys. So
Got space.
Hold on. hold on to your seats.
We're doing the
okay?
full course menu here. Let's go.
All right. We also got to talk about where we started this year, and I'm hoping I got my clips in order, and if I don't, I am so sorry. But Emmanuel Briganti, starting off our season, he was the first champion that we got to have here within the 2026 season. And yeah, it was really, really incredible. This was just a defining team as well. So I might not have a clip for him, but that's okay. The chokehold that he had on the regulation with his balance team really defined everything. So it's going to be someone as well that I'm curious to see what he can bring going on into EUIC. 2 more that we have here, including our most recent Birmingham Regional Champion. We have Stefano Greppi. This was within Regulation F. This is going to be our EUIC format. And not only did he win the event, but we got to see a really cool adaptation of this Chien Pao that we've had forever in multiple different regulations with an Icy Wind variant, which for those who know VGC, that's definitely not something we've really gotten to see. And I think is a really cool adaptation at this point in the meta, considering we're returning to Regulation F. Last but not least, when you talk about Italy dominance and you talk about all the international championships, etc., Marco Silva has a few of those to his name. 3-time international champion, he little champion this season, but when it comes to EUIC, he hasn't been able to break through that IC quite as well as he has the others. He got 2nd at NAIC in 25 and 24 LAIC champion, OCIC champion, but UIC just hasn't been there for him yet. So hoping he can break through to try and take a title or get close to it.
Well, With so many players hailing from Italy, aside from the fact that they're crushing across the board, are there any other trends that you've noticed among them as far as playstyles or as far as like the teams they like to bring that might be different from the rest of the player population?
So in general, especially when you talk about Europe, we do get to see a little bit more of a balancy type of team, which we can see from a lot of those players. Marco is someone who goes a smidge more against the grain. When you look back at one of his LASC wins, it was with Torkoal Jumpluff and a Charizard, which was something we hadn't really seen from anyone in the format so far with that Charizard. We look back to his little win. It's with Rabombi, which wasn't really used in this current meta either, and then showing up getting 5th place at Birmingham with Torkoal, which again is not necessarily the most used in this meta, though it isn't unheard of. So I think that's something that's really interesting, is you can expect a lot of balance from Europe, you can expect a lot of balance from Italy, but Marco, you don't quite know where he's going to land.
That is very true, and I know that what is true to Sierra is even with her interview, she's managed to squeeze in another bonus player. We've got Marco Silva on deck, but who is joining you for that interview?
Yes, so I got to speak to Marco Silva, but someone who got to pop off at EUIC last year as well, bringing the same team to Birmingham, was none other than Dill Yeoman. Second at EUIC, the hometown hero breakthrough, the really cool person to see step up last year at EUIC. And I love the opportunity to be able to sit down with them as well and get some insight from both of them heading into the event.
All right, well then let's take a look and hear from Marco Silva and Dill.
I am here with 3-time international champion Marco Silva and 2025 EUIC finalist Dill Yeomans. Hello, thank you both for joining me so much. How are we doing today? How are we feeling for EUIC coming up? Dill, let's go with you first.
I don't know, I'm feeling okay about the event. I'm trying to not think about it too much, because like it is, whenever I do, it is stressful, but it should be okay. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. That's what I'm holding on to. Marco, thank you as well. How are you doing today? How are you feeling for EUIC, Marco?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Like after the last event, before the last event, I wasn't really sure about like my confidence in this format, but since I was able to top Birmingham, I'm feeling pretty okay now.
I mean, definitely an accomplishment like that heading into a big international is perfect. And I want to talk a little bit more about the getting ready, because we have 3 internationals in the season. This is the second one. Dill, you said that you're like, the stress, like, don't think about it too much, but the event's coming up sooner rather than later.
Until last season, it was always just like practice the team, like learn as much as I can with it, and then just go in and see what happens. And then specifically EUIC last year, it was just, I'd done way more, like I'd written all my matchups out and stuff. I've been playing the team for way longer as well. I've been playing it for months at that point, and obviously that went well. So I've been trying to do a bit more of it this season, but I mean, the motivation kind of hasn't been there. I've not been like doing as much as I probably should. So this event's very much I'll see how it goes kind of one.
I mean, going into EUIC as well, you're talking about last time with the meta. Let's talk about the meta heading into this event, because we have Regulation F again. So how are we feeling with the meta? Do we think that people have been holding on to stuff for EUIC that we'll get to see anything too interesting? Like, Marco, how are we feeling heading into the event meta-wise?
So I feel like there are a lot of composition that are not completely developed until now. There's a lot of themes that people have to cover for, so sometimes it feels like, well, if I'm covering for this option, then I might be like, I'm not maybe doing that okay into another one, so it will be pretty interesting. But I feel like some players definitely are holding to their teams because there hasn't been like a tournament, like an international, since there's only one for every regulation. So yeah, it will be really interesting.
And then, Dill, any thoughts from you? Like, is there anything that you think you can try and break, or is it kind of going to be a bring something comfortable to try and make it through the event? Because that's always a different strategy trainers can go for it well, is like that comfort.
Well, I've been trying some things, but after it all, I think I am probably going to just bring something comfortable because that works better for me. But there will for sure be a lot of new things popping up, I think. There's like, I mean, people say every format gets stale, but then once the biggest event comes up, something new always shows up. And, I mean, does well, and yeah, it'll be cool to see.
It definitely makes it always really exciting, because you just don't know exactly where the meta is going to be heading. Now, heading into the event, there's a lot of expectations as well. Marco, we'll start with you. You're a 3-time international champion. We got LAIC, OCIC. For EUIC, what would it mean to you to be able to make the run there to try and not just get a 4th international title, but keep the title in EUIC?
So it would be great also because like a lot of times my friends joke about the fact that the only internets that I wasn't able to get finals at was UIC. So yeah, like hopefully this time I'll go for it. Like I'm not even like aiming at getting like finals or winning the whole event. I just want to do like better than my peak result, which has been top 32. Also keeping the championship in Europe would be great, as last time the American won. So yeah, that would be great.
I mean, we almost got to keep the trophy in Europe last year. Dill, you're finalist last year. That was a crazy run. It was a crazy finals. I want to know then, you've gotten to compete at that level. You've gotten to be on that stage at Championship Sunday. Since then, is there any more pressure heading into these events, or are you putting more pressure on yourself knowing that you've been there before?
I felt like there was for a bit. Like my first few events afterwards, like I had no idea what my expectations should be or anything like that. I haven't done many since then, but like Utrecht went okay, and then Worlds I didn't day 2, so then that kind of like reset me a bit, I think. And after that, I was like, okay, well, I'm just back to it as I always was, just trying to have fun. I never set like placement goals or anything for myself. It's always just try and play the best I can and see where that gets me.
I mean, it's definitely taking you far in the past. Now, with trying to keep this title and this trophy in Europe, there's definitely a lot of really strong contenders to do that. Italy has won every regional in EU so far this season, which has been incredible. But you look back at that EU-NA rivalry, and at Worlds, it was an NA sweep. So I want to know, going into this event, who are some kind of front runners, either from Europe or from worldwide, that you're kind of keeping an eye on to maybe take the EUIC title? And you can't name yourselves. We got to list other trainers, okay?
Yeah, so I feel like probably there are a couple of players that are really likely to not win, but like do really well at UIC. I would expect a lot of Japanese players to come over to UIC to compete and try to get an invite. My best bet would probably be the 2023 world champion Shuei Kimura, since he has been doing really well in online tournaments and has been also practicing in real tournaments also in Europe. So yeah, those are my best bet.
Yeah, Shohei is always a good bet. And the Japanese players as well, we got to see Yuma take down LAIC. Like, they've been putting in work coming out to these competitions. Dill, who do you have an eye on to try and take down this EUIC title? Who are you worried about out in the field?
I'm not really sure who's going outside of Europeans. I can't really say anything about those other than who Marco already mentioned. I think within Europe, Tier Team from France has had an incredible season, so he'll likely just make it very far again. And also, like, staying in the UK, I think Taron Birdie, who is just the best UK player, is probably going to do quite well. He had a bit of a shaky start to the season, but Reg F is just one of his formats. He had a great Birmingham, and I think he's going to keep it up.
I mean, I love that we get to have that insight, both from worldwide players and from who we should keep an eye out from Europe. Last but not least, and always the most important question whenever we get to talk to Pokemon players, which is each of your favorite Pokemon and why? Dill, let's start with you.
I feel like the answer just changes in my head sometimes, mostly because I don't think about it. I usually go with Kecleon as an answer, and I'm not really sure why. Like, I've always liked chameleons growing up, and I mean, Kecleon's like the only chameleon Pokemon.
It's also just a cute little Pokemon, isn't
it? It is. I think its abilities are really cool as well. Like, and being able to change type, like, as a kid always seemed like the coolest thing ever.
See, I just go back to the Hoenn region, and they're always in the way. That's what I always think of with the Kecleons. Yeah. Marco, what about yourself? Favorite Pokemon and why?
So, I mean, talk about Kecleon, I don't really like it because when I used to play Pokémon Mystery Dungeon, I used to, there was like the market thing on the ground. I used to get stuff, get away with the market and then just get KO in like 2 seconds. So I have like really bad memories about Kecleon. But yeah, my favorite Pokemon is probably, so growing up it was Serperior, because the first actual Pokemon game that I played was Pokemon Black 2. In which I got Snipe as the first Pokemon and then evolved into Serperior, so I really liked it. Then, as I started playing competitive, I really liked Mimikyu, because in 2017, I basically mained Hard Trick Room, and yeah, it was really fun. I played it like the whole season, so I really liked it. I figured out that most likely my answer is probably changing to Torkoal, because yeah, every team that I'm being like, not every team, but like almost every team that I'm being successful with in the last few years has been with Torkoal, and it's been pretty fun to use.
I mean, Torkoal's awesome when it hits its moves, that's for sure. Definitely Torkoal's fan over here. Still, Marco, best of luck to both of you for EUIC. No, we'll be cheering you both on, and thank you so much for your time. As for us, back over to our EUIC preview show.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon mentioned. Thank you, Marco Silva. Love it.
Yeah.
That was also a great showcase as well, with Marco being a player that has something to prove, take down EUIC and get that achievement once and for all for his record. And then Dill, a player who had a taste of the spotlight but isn't letting it go to their head and is just trying to play for fun, and I'm going to play clean and see how far that takes me.
Yeah, especially too last year, it was really fun at any step of the journey being able to talk to Dill, because it was just so like unbelievable to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Championship Sunday, like you're here, like how's it feel? It's just like starstruck, which I really appreciate. Like it was just so humble. It was just so down, like it was just such a nice down to earth moment coming out from them that it was just like, man, I'm rooting for Dill. So I definitely hope that there can be the success for both of them going on into this UIC.
Yeah, everybody loves an underdog, and with the meta beginning to shift, we saw some rumblings there towards the interview. Both players kind of sensing that there might be a big surprise meta shift for returning to a regulation that has been played time and time again at these big events. And Marco opting for Sun, perhaps a more aggressive slant. Is that typical for VG, where as a format becomes more mature, do teams get more aggressive or more defensive, in your opinion, Sierra?
It really depends. It kind of... Sometimes a format will start off really aggressive and then kind of slow down as we go. But with regulation, we're returning to a regulation, right? And it was already something that's a little bit more balancey. And we started off right away kind of hitting the balance with a couple of, aggressive pieces. And then we kind of get into this point. Like it's all over the place right now. I think what's really interesting with this current meta is Raging Bolt balance was kind of the feared thing. But when we had Toronto Regional Championships, that was our very first regulation F 2.0. Then the next week, we had 3 regionals all on the same weekend happening. So there's kind of a lot of meta stuff happening in the shadows to then all come out at once. We got to see some similar looks and a couple different takes on each one of those regionals, which I think is going to be really interesting on an international level, because you're going to see a little bit of everything, which is a little bit more unusual this time around.
Yeah, so many times we're coming into an international and it's like, in regards to TCG, these are our kind of 4-set decks, or this is that, this is the team to go in with. What an exciting time to head into EUIC, especially armed with all the different perspectives that you brought for us to Sierra, to kind of see this play out with a lot more variety than usual.
And with so many things to consider, of course, the players have their work cut out for them. And now we're going into our deep dive segments, folks. So now we can see some of the nitty gritty of what goes into the highest levels of play for each respective game. And Joe is going to kick us off with a special segment he's constructed going over the Charizard and Golden Go matchup, something we are definitely anticipating to see a lot of at EUIC.
Yeah, 2 of the top archetypes, no doubt. And with so many weeks and months to prepare in the Phantasmal Flames format, it feels like generally, especially against Golden Go, a deck that plays very little hand disruption, players can create flowcharts and prize maps for basically every situation they find themselves in. So I've actually picked a really interesting deep dive where things don't go the way you would expect for both players. So the plans are going to have to change on the fly. And that's what I think really can set players apart in this sort of later stage, where everyone basically knows the general way to go about certain matchups, but things get very different. And we're punching straight into Game 3, top 8 of the Birmingham Regional Championships between Irvind and Ilan here. And it's actually the Golden Go side's turn, and they've done all their draws, they've used their abilities, they can't reach on the Charizard EX. Typically, they would love to go down to 3 prize cards here. It would really improve their map, because Charizard, very scary archetype, is a Terra EX, so it can take advantage of both Briar and Dustoir. Ilan was not able to do that, so had to settle for a 2 prize KO, which normally spells disaster. But the good news for him is that Ilan took out a Charmeleon, so there's no access to Charizard EX this turn for Irvin, so he can't find a Chi-Yu attack this turn, and also he crucially knocked out a Pokemon that had a Defiance Band attached to it. So Irvin now doesn't actually have an easy way to knock out a Golden Go in any way, shape, or form. If his hand was good enough, he could rare candy into a Dusknoir, and then he could do a single prize for single prize trade with Curse Blast, taking out one of the rocks or the Gimmighoul on the bench, that would then push Burning Darkness into a clean KO onto the Golden Go, but that's not available to him. His hand is pretty poor. So now Irvin also has to go off his normal route of prize mapping. He has to spend Counter Catcher here and try and hand disrupt Elan down a little bit whilst using Iono himself, because he also has a ton of objectives this turn. He only just finds his Pidgeot EX, but he also has 2 of his Charmander in the discard pile. So he has to spend his Quick Search, not for a helpful piece that can get him closer to Dusknoir or anything like that. He has to grab a Super Rod instead just to get a Charmander back onto this board, because now that Irvin is only taking a single prize KO, he's really going to have to come up with some creative shenanigans if he's ever going to win a traditional prize race with the likes of Briar or with the likes of Dusknoir. And actually, in some regards, the fact that he's already attached a Fire Energy to this Chi-Yu means that he's basically already giving up on his usual prize cheating mechanics of the Briar and the Dusknoir. He's having to settle for just a second prize KO here. So now both players are level, and I think Elan at this stage is like physically took a breath of relief that he didn't get hit with the Candy, Dusknoir, and the Knockout. Then he would basically lose on the spot. But the fact that they're level on prize cards right now is so advantageous for Elan, who essentially has like just one objective in mind here. Draw as many cards as possible and try and make yourself as invulnerable to Iono as possible. As we see, he's using his supporter for the turn, Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking, to choose some cards out of the top of the deck and draw into them with his Golden Go here, so that he can reach on this Charizard. And the good news for Elan here is that there are 2 EX Pokemon in play. The Charizard you're going to knock out this turn, and then next turn you can win by bringing up Pidgeot EX and knocking that Pokemon out. And what's so intriguing about Golden Go, especially in recent months, is that it can really springboard back from hand disruption so much better than any other deck in the format. So even though Irvin could, maybe in the worst case scenario, I don't know him down to a low hand size, Elan is still like relatively confident that he could still get that Boss's Orders knockout on Pidgeot next turn. And let's not forget, he's still holding on to Prime Catcher currently, so that gives him Arven out to also win the game. So Elan normally would be terrified to go down to 2 prize cards here. Now he can feel confident in that decision because Irvin has such a low hand size. It's basically impossible for Irvin to construct a Rare Candy into the Terra Charizard, which could use a Briar this turn, and Rare Candy into a Dusknoir, even with Quick Search, because he's only got a 3-card hand. So it's literally impossible. Elan can do what is usually like the worst decision possible for Golden Go, which is go down to 2 prize cards remaining against a Charizard. But it does open this door for Irvin to have a completely different direction. He's scrapping the prize cheating shenanigans, and instead he's going to go in defensive mode. Irvin top decked a Fire for the turn, which means he can Quick Search for a Professor Turo here and take his only 2 prize Pokemon out of play, and also is able to evolve into Pidgeotto. So rather than going for Quick Search for Iono and just hope that Elan can't get the KO, instead he can guarantee this turn that he's not getting into a spot where he could lose the game at all. Instead, he can pick up that Pidgeot and make it so Elan is really put in this terrible position now where Irvin will go down to 2 prize cards. The Chi-Yu is basically pinning Elan as well, because if Elan chooses to take any other Pokemon out from this position, the Chi-Yu can come back and just respond on the Golden Go. So it's actually Elan's turn to look for the Professor Turo scenario. That would be the only play that would make him still in a really good position here, because he could pick up the Golden Go, still use his Prime Catcher that turn, and take out the Duskull. That would be like his ideal turn. So he's doing some deck thinning. He has a couple draws here with Golden Go to find his 1 copy of Professor Turo. He isn't, unfortunately, able to find it, even after the draws with Lunatone here. So he now has to think, well, I have to deal with this Chi-Yu. There's no way around this. The only good news is that he gets to scout the discard pile for Irvin, and Elan knows that there's a Pidgeot EX in hand. That can search for any card in the deck for Irvin. But the good news is, Elan is taking out energy number 3 and 4 off the board right now. So even if there's Quick Search online, there's no guarantee that Irvin can come back with a Charizard with enough energy to finish off the Golden Go. That's the critical thing here. He could Quick Search for Charizard, but he also needs to have a Super Rod. So even though Elan doesn't have access to Professor Turo, he's still able to knock out this Chi-Yu, which has to happen, and he's just hoping that Irvin can't construct both Charizard and Super Rod here. And it's currently not possible from Irvin's hand, actually. He was fortunate enough to find Pheasantipity from his prize cards, which gave him good odds, but in fact he's able to top deck Charizard EX. So now he can Super Rod for those energy, and there is the fist bump between the 2 players. But I think what I really want to showcase from this game is that, firstly, both players had to adapt. There had to be a counter catcher play from Irvin to take him off his ideal prize map, because Elan had to use a Boss's Orders effect to get him off his own ideal prize map as well. Both players had to accept that they could lose to better hands from the opponent. and in some times were being bold and saying that you simply didn't have enough cards to construct the really dangerous combo. But what was also so intriguing is that as it got scrappier, as it got more murky for both players, in both instances, Irvin was able to top deck cards that made him completely change his game plan. It went from Pidgeot using Iono to he top decked Fire. Now he can get Chi-Yu into the equation and Turo for a guaranteed safe turn. And then even on that following turn, he was able to top deck again. Admittedly, he had a lot of draws that could win him the game at that stage because Quick Search could always find the second piece.
Right.
But it shows that even with these flow charts that you would expect, like game 1 and game 2 basically went to plan for both players. Like the Golden Go went from 5 prizes to 3 to 1, so it could avoid Briar and Dustin White in game number 1. In game number 2, in game number 2, in game number 1, Urban was able to use Briar very effectively to shut the door on Golden Go with no question. Game 3, it got really scrappy, really murky, and it was all about those really tight decisions toward the end. Got to applaud Irvin for finding the spot to use that Turo scenario. That was very heads up and only correct because he top decked a different card for the turn as well. So he got himself out of this really strange position, but also hats off to Ilan for making the most out of him also missing his best turn, which was earlier on in the game, knocking out that Charizard immediately would have got him onto his ideal prize map. So both players sort of thrown off from their usual approach, made it so that they had to play both so intricately and so differently, which I think is, again, just hats off to both players. That's why they got so far in the tournament, and that's why Irvin ultimately is one of the best performing Charizard players we have in the game right now.
And I hope that everybody in the audience was taking notes, because that was certainly a deep dive. They were putting you to work playing that at 2 times speed. The one note I also wanted to add to this whole scenario we just saw play out is the fact that Irvin went for the Ultra Ball to get that Charmander back. You hate to give up the Super Rod just to get the Charmander, and the Ultra Ball, discarding 2 more cards, attaching to the Chi-Yu, confidently knew that that was the line and just went for it. Didn't go for the hedge of I'll disrupt, hope you don't have it, knew that that was Golden Go's strength, as you pointed out, and instead went for something that was more solid and more guaranteed to potentially result in victory.
Yeah, that's why I went for this game in particular, because both players were planning so far ahead that you could tell with their actions, even on turn 2 in the game, that they were so far ahead.
I'm detailed. There's so much said. I had to write. There's a lot to write down.
It's a lot.
So much said by Joe. Very impressive.
We always do our deep dives, right? We all talk about the meta. We kind of get into a flow state, but whenever Joe does it, he absolutely fries. He's so good. It's
next level.
Beautiful to watch.
I know, and I was like, okay, this is a deep dive, but which one's going to win? Like, he was gassing up both players at the same time, and I'm like, oh my god.
Drama.
And incredible breakdown of the deep dive. A great way to show, how these 2 players are able to kind of pivot in these situations. Do you think there's anything that other top-level players kind of watching that can take away as something that might always be true in future games, a real learning if you had?
I think the big takeaway and why I chose this game was that it's so easy to think about those ideal situations, but Irvin recognizing so early on in his game that like his plan A is just out the window, and every decision he made from that stage was about plan B. Even if it was low odds, it's game 3. You can't do anything else. This is what you have to go through, and he was rewarded for that. So that was the reason why I chose this game.
Brilliant.
Yep, you keep an open mind, and sometimes you're rewarded. And I know that Sierra also has a special deep dive segment for us, and we'll keep an open mind and move over to that one.
Yes. So for myself, what's always fun is the deep dives, right? But I wanted to take it a step further, and instead of it just being us, I wanted to hear from the players too, and specifically their hot takes going into EUIC. So I got trainers from around the world to contribute to this, picked out a couple of the spicy ones, and I can break down for you guys why it is or isn't spicy. And if you guys have input along the way, let's hear it. I want to know how you're rating these as well, right? So our very first hot take that we had, this one's coming out from Marco Silva, is that at least one Fluttermane with fake tears makes top cut. So Fluttermane is one of the top usage Pokemon right now in VGC. It is like 50%. It's on a lot of teams, and there's a lot of different looks for it. Fake tears is not one of those looks. I have the number here, out of 8 of 13 Fluttermanes in top cut at Birmingham, not a single one had fake tears. We could have offensive sets, we can have slow Thunder Wave sets, but not fake tears. But for extra context, the regional that Marco won, he won with a fake tears Rabombi. not Fluttermane. Now he's saying that Fake Tears makes Top Cut. I don't know. I think this one's kind of spicy. I don't know if I would. It's like one of the strongest Pokemon. I feel like that's a wasted move.
Yeah, Fluttermane, I think, was its original claim to fame was just it would click a button and delete a Pokemon off the opposing side of the board. And to take the time to go for Fake Tears, something that is a supportive move, does seem very counterintuitive. What do you think about this, Sierra, as the expert? Is it better to just click button, do damage, or do we want to get tricky with the Fake Tears?
We've already gotten tricky with Fluttermane. We're running Thunder Wave on it now. We're running Taunt. Like, we've gotten tricky with it, but I feel like Fake Tears is kind of a step too far. I don't know. I think on the spice meter, this one's pretty. It's pretty spicy, you know. Like, you'll need a side of ranch at least to go with it. But
is there hidden?
Joe doesn't know what that is.
Wait, is there hidden information here? Like a player that makes Top Cut with Fake Tears bug, is he saying that he's going to bring it?
I don't know, or he is. I don't know, man. I'll believe Fake Tears Fluttermane when I see it, but I am not believing in it until we get to this point. The next one is also quite spicy. So our next hot take came out from our current world champion from GO. Calm Mind Raging Bolt will not win a trophy in Masters. For context, we got to vote for what regulation we wanted, and regulation H1, but it was not H, regulation F1, but it was very hotly contested because people did not like Calm Mind Raging Bolt. It is bulky, it's difficult to play around sometimes. You can bring it down to 3 HP, and with the right Pokemon on the field, it can get like back up to full health with leftovers and terrain. It is haunted people, right? And now we're hearing that it's not going to win a trophy in Masters. It won Birmingham, got second at Toronto.
I mean, if it's a Pokemon that has been feared and it's legal for the tournament format that's going into EUIC, then I think it's going to, not win a trophy means it's not going to make top 3. I mean, that's a tough call. I knew some players hedge and they say, well, it won't make top 8 or what have you. But this is another Marco's secretly leaking the tech, right? Raging Bolt, Fluttermane. You can't have both, right? But
yeah, Giovanni's got a plan to shut down all Calm Mind Raging Bolts, and he will not let them pass.
yeah, I know he's going to be running Whirlwind and Roar. No setup Pokemon allowed.
Okay, that is spicy. That is too spicy. We gotta.
That's good.
We gotta move on. Not the howl, not the howl. Next one coming out from another Italian player we didn't get to talk about, Federico Camporesi. Regidrago Psy Spam is one of the best teams going into the event.
Regidrago learns Psy Spam?
No. So you have Regidrago, and then you'll have like an Iron Crown and an Indeedee. So you got like a lot of really strong Pokemon all together. This is kind of one of the more offensive pieces, right? So Toronto, no Psy Spam, Regidrago, though we did get a top 4 by Tang with Regidrago. Birmingham, it got 3rd place. Then we get to Auckland Merida, also not to be seen. So for one of the best teams going into the event, also putting in the footnote that he expects it to overperform compared to previous events, if not the best of all, and that Bow Balance will flop. Like, we're getting, like, Feta is popping off with this one.
Psy Spam.
Yeah, I want this to be a hot take. I'm Psy Spam's biggest hater. So if this could be wrong, alone. I would be overjoyed. No, I know that I'm one of many. So
I hear it's a new crusher.
I do hope it's
so
a hot take.
I understand why you wouldn't enjoy it. How does it do against balance? Like, what beats Psy Spam? If somebody shows up with Psy Spam, what's the rock paper scissors there?
A good attitude.
Strong mental.
So generally with like Psy Spam, so a couple of the pieces on the team, Regidrago can be a little bit more frail. Iron Crown can be annoying, especially with Terra Water. But, you know, the Indeedee meal can also be a little frail. Also, if the Psy Spam just gets knocked out of the field, so Rillaboom, one of the highest usage Pokemon in the format, hits the field and overrides the Psychic Terrain, it's gone. You have no Psy Spam. You just have Psy, no Spam. So it kind of, you got to play a little carefully there. It's always a team that you should have a matchup into, but it's been hotly contested for a while now. So I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued. I think one of the teams, like For real, going into EUIC, one of the teams that people are expecting is Porygon 2 Ursaluna. But our Toronto regional champion just said straight up, Harry D'Ortona said that Porygon 2 Ursaluna is meh.
Well,
other people are saying they're anticipating this to win the event. It's won EUIC before in 24.
I think that the trend with these hot takes is the players do not believe in any sort of setup teams. They want Pokemon that are a little bit more self-sufficient, it feels like. And I don't know if I'd be willing to click Trick Room in front of Indeedee and Psy Spam or in front of Calm Mind, right?
I mean, Ursaluna, you could just delete a Raging Bolt.
That is true. It doesn't need to be in Trick Room.
Yeah, so for it to be meh, I don't know. That one.
Terra Ghost. Write it down in the notes, so it's just everybody Terra Ghost.
Harry is cooking out here. That's a spicy take. Next one, we got about 4 more of these. This one is really, really spicy, and I don't know, Henry. I am not with you here. He's saying all 4 Ogerpon cut EUIC. The reason this is crazy is Hearthflame Ogerpon, Cornerstone Ogerpon, and Wellspring are all actually really good. And all those 3 cut Birmingham. The highest placing Teal Mask, this poor Ogerpon left behind, the top placing one was 112th place.
Shut up.
Like,
pick it up.
All-time bounce back incoming. All time.
Oh man, I don't know. All 4? Because like sometimes Cornerstone Ogerpon falls off a little bit too. It's been doing better, but like all 4 in top cut?
What is the use case for Teal Mask?
Yeah.
You get to pick an item instead of having the mask as the item. And then you get the speed boost with terrestrialization.
Okay. Fast grass.
Hey, an item's pretty good. An item is pretty good.
Okay.
That round top 130.
I'll leave that up to the pros.
Teal Mask holding the whole team back. Holding the whole top
fan,
back.
I'm just learning that there's a 4th Ogerpon. I thought
Yeah, we fear Wellspring and Cornerstone in the TCG.
Oh my god. These next 2 are cut from the same cloth, and I love it. So next one from Michael Kelch, who's always very opinionated. Earthworm is massively underrated, and people are too lazy to figure it out. We got to see an Earthworm go 4-0 at Toronto before ultimately taking some losses, ending 5-3. But Earthworm, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
Earthworm a gold star.
It's also the most Michael Kelch quote of all time. This
Pokemon is good, and you are wrong. You're just too lazy. Honestly, that sounds like me with Dialga back in the day.
We're asking a lot.
I mean, if someone can figure it out, maybe they have an EUIC winning team. Because the next hot take coming out from Justin Tang was Earthworm top cuts. The fact that 2 individual players, one from NA, one from EU, what do they know?
We're putting together a Frankenstein team here. Apparently, we're getting this crack team together of oddball misfit Pokemon. Teal Mask Ogerpon, Earthworm.
Can you imagine if we didn't see it coming and it happened, how shocking this would be? Like, Sarah, you're doing important work out there talking to these players, because we could have been blindsided by an Earthworm and never known.
It's a good thing she got these takes from top players.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we'd be like, where did you find these takes?
Take them away.
Like, if any of us said that, our choice as an analyst for this event would be...
Yeah, I got some hot takes delivered underneath my door with a mysterious note with cutout magazine words. Earthworm. Scrawled in ink.
I'm like, I'm not reading this.
In a padded room somewhere.
All right. The next 2 that we have, these are about the players. We're going to take a pause from the Pokemon. Next one from Sebastian Rodriguez saying Latin players are being slightly underrated going into EUIC. I actually think this is the coldest take of all, because I actually do think I agree. I think that they are being underrated going into EUIC. I mean, Latin hasn't won an IC before, but like Gabriel Gotti is one of the top players that we have. Juan Salerno got second at LAIC this season. Like Javier Valdez, Tiago Latanzi, 24 LAIC runner-up. Like, there's a lot of strong talent that are showing up for the event, right? So it's kind of one of those cases where when people are talking about, oh my goodness, Italy's so strong and Japan's so strong, sometimes LATAM gets left out of the conversation. But there is a lot of talent here. So I'm really hoping that, you know, he says that he believes that this could be the event that it happens, and also said that he hopes that it could be him, which we're cheering you on.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the take can be so spicy that it snaps you back out of your stupor, and this is just a great reminder take, honestly.
It's like a room temperature.
Yeah, when I think LATAM, I think Pokemon GO, I think Pokemon UNITE, but VG, you know, also needs to represent.
Yeah, so we get a cool take there, because I definitely think LATAM can show up. The next one, though, our final take, might be the spiciest of them all. Coming out from Costa Dynamos, our beloved caster Costa, no Italian in top 8 Masters.
Oof.
He wants to perform every single regional, and he still says this.
It might be time to kick Costa off the UIC.
EU regional this season, and he says not a single one is going to top 8 Masters. Oh man, Costa.
And there's the best part about this take is that if he's correct, we're not going to like it. And if he's not correct, we're never going to let him forget about it.
I don't think Italy will like him very much either if he's correct. Like, he's made himself a very powerful enemy.
Yeah, this is an incredibly high Scoville tier hot take.
Yeah, I am Costa. I think you might be alone with that one, but yeah, if you have any hot takes or you enjoy this, let us know what you think. But yeah, I loved getting the players' insight for that one. I had a good laugh at a couple of the ones, and then others submitted like, these Pokemon are cool. I'd love to see these Pokemon, but I think these are the spiciest of them.
Well, the temperature in here has been raised indeed by these hot takes. Let's see, Will, for Go, what have you got for us? You gonna cool it down? You gonna spice it up?
I'm going to cool it down for just a second, and then we're going to spice things up, because I realize we're so late into this pre-show. I haven't even told you guys what the meta is for EUIC.
Oh, well, please.
So Rachel, Adam, get your notepads and your pencils out. We're going to take some notes real quick, and then I'm going to break it all down for you, okay? The permitted types are Bug, Dark, Dragon, and Normal. The categorical bans are Ultra Beasts, Legendary Pokemon, Mythical Pokemon, and Mega Evolutions. The types that are banned are actually Fighting, Flying, and Steel. And the Pokemon that escaped the ban list, these are kind of like whitelist Pokemon, are Seaking, Politoed, Milotic, and Frostlass. We also have some additional bans being Wigglytuff, Chansey, Crustle, Diggersby, Rabombi, Araquanid, Turtonator, Morgrim, and Morpeko. So you saw Turtonator all over LAIC. It's not going to be in this tournament at all. Now, what does this all mean? I've seen a lot of practice
spreadsheet to keep track of all of this.
Zoinks, whiteboard.
Right? Yeah, Zoinks.
That's very important stuff on there. I can't erase that.
Okay. Just flip it over. But what this all boils down to, right? A lot of competitors can watch this and basically build a team in 10 seconds. You ready for this? Slot number 1, a Bug Biter like Beedrill or like Spidops. Slot number 2, a Dark type Pokemon like Grimmsnarl or Shadow Drapion. Slot number 3, a Rollout user, Licky Licky, Miltank are both good options. Slot 4 is a normal flex, something like Furret. It's very, very solid. Slot 5 is a poison type Pokemon. This could be the Shadow Drapion if you didn't put it in the Dark type slot, or it could be something like Dragalge. And then the final slot is Dragons. And speaking of dragons, let's head over to the Den of Dragons.
Let's go. Break down this new dragon meta for Pokemon Go.
The guitar.
Starting things off, we have the backbone of the dragon meta, which is the ever reliable, ever durable, ever stout Kingdra. Kingdra is very, very versatile. It's got Swift, it's got Outrage as well. It can hit really, really hard against certain targets. I think that the normal Kingdra is probably the most valuable pick, but the Shadow variant with a little bit of attack can flip some matchups. So definitely keep an eye on that. Next up, we have Dragonair, one of my favorite designs since I was a kid. I love Dragonair. It's got a lot of utility with Aqua Tail and Wrap, but it doesn't quite measure up to Kingdra. It's a little more potent, but a little less durable. So some trainers might go for that, but it's kind of like a flex option. Now, when you move on from Dragonair, you have a Pokemon like Goodra. Now, Goodra is bulkier than Dragonair, but it offers similar typing coverage in terms of it's got Aqua Tail, it's got Thunder Punch. But my spicy take here, as we see Shadow Dragonair take an Ice Beam, my spicy take here is that if you play Goodra you're going to want to run Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor hits really, really hard. It takes a long time to get to. It's the most expensive, most energy-intensive charge attack of the generalists, but I think it is very, very valuable, and you can one-shot tons of different Pokemon across the meta. And finally, the last Pokemon that I'm going to mention here in our generalist group is Arctibax. It does carry that sub-ice typing. I mentioned Pokemon like Licky and Miltank being very popular. Those are rollout users, which means they have rock-type attacks, which is going to hurt you there. And Arctibax is a little bit slow, but it's got really good bulk, and it has Icy Wind, which can set up the rest of your team.
It's interesting to see a middle evolution here. How does that play into the team building for Pokemon Go?
Great question. I heard this question initially when Chargebug was top meta. It's like, why not Vikavolt, right? Just the way that the Pokemon work in Pokemon Go, you want to get as many levels into your Pokemon as possible while keeping it under the 1,500 combat power cap. And sometimes the middle evolutions are better for that. So something like a Vigoroth is better than a Slacking. Something like Chargebug is better than Vikavolt. Examples like that. We have our next group. This is group 2 of 4. We're going to talk about anti-bug dragons. Spidops is all over this meta. It is infested with Spidops, you guys. There's also Beedrill. There's also Shadow Venomoth. So you're going to want a Bug Bite resist. Dragalge seems to be the best option here. It's got Dragon Tail. It's got Aqua Tail in only 9 turns. It also has Outrage, like its hard-hitting Dragon-type counterpoint in Kingdra. Now, Dragalge is very reliable. You do have to shield up things like Drill Run, which Beedrill and Dunsparce are going to have. That's going to be a lot of super effective damage. But if you can do that, Dragalge is so durable, so powerful, and the absence of ground-type fast attack damage in this meta makes it really, really free in most cases. The second option, we're going full high octane offense. We're going Drampa, you guys. Drampa does have access to Swift and also Fly. It does have that normal typing, which is going to double resist any kind of ghost type attacks. That's kind of hit or miss. It could be useful, but what you really want it for is that offensive prowess. You are able to throw Fly and almost one-shot anything that's a bug type other than Spidops. It's very, very impressive, very powerful.
Okay.
Good day for bugs. Does that come around much in Pokemon Go?
What's that? Bug types?
Yeah.
Yeah, for this meta, yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah. For this meta, they're really valuable. Bug Bite is basically unresisted across the board. That's why you need either poison or something that can hit hard against it. Next up, we're going to talk about our Dark Dragons, and the headliner for this group is got to be Zweilous, the 2-headed Dark and Dragon type Pokemon. It's adorable. If you have the shiny, run it because it's a really cool flex. The main reason you want to play Dark type Dragons, though, is to resist Sucker Punch. We see Grimmsnarl and we see Spiritomb, one or the other, on basically every single team in practice so far. And having that Dark subtyping allows you to stay in those matchups. Zweilous, fascinatingly, right, can beat Grimmsnarl in even shields, even energy, just because its pacing is better and it's actually resisting those sucker punches. So even though Grimmsnarl is double resisting the Dragon Breaths, Zweilous can still come out on top. There is the Shadow Zweilous variant, which is going to give you a little more potency, a little more punch, but I would recommend the regular one over the Shadow in most cases. And then finally, Adam, this one's for you. You can actually evolve up and you can run Shadow Hydreigon, which I do think is viable. It might be more viable in Go Battle League, in Blind Threes, as we like to call them, but in Show Sticks, it can be really, really useful. So Shadow Hydreigon is your high offense, high potency kind of counterpoint to Zweilous. I've got one more group.
Let's do it.
This final group, as I like to call them, are the Pseudo Dragons. Now, what does that mean? It means that they don't necessarily carry that dragon typing, but they do have dragon type attacks, whether it be Dragon Tail, Dragon Breath, or some kind of dragon type charge attack like Breaking Swipe or something like that. Dragon Claw, perhaps. The headliner for this group is got to be Tyranitar. This Pokemon is incredible. High offense. Shadow Tyranitar shreds through Pokemon in neutral matchups. You do have to watch out for the bug types in the meta because they are dealing super effective damage back to it, but Tyranitar's Brutal Swing Stone Edge combination is devastating, especially when shields are down. Up next after that, we actually have a very funny looking Pokemon. You saw the intimidating Tyranitar. What about the Dunsparce?
Horrifying.
The Dunsparce is also horrifying. Absolutely. The Dunsparce is what I would call the best anti-dragon in this meta due to its Dragon Tail fast attack. It's got above average bulk. It's got access to Drill Run, Rock Slide, a couple other lower energy charge stacks, but where it really shines is that fast attack. Very versatile, can take on Pokemon like Kingdra, like Dragonair, no problem. And as you see on screen here, opposite of this Dudunsparce is actually Milotic, which is another kind of pseudo dragon with Dragon Tail, Surf, and Wrap. So you can play that Pokemon. I think Milotic is kind of like at the bottom of this pseudo dragon tier list if I had to kind of order them in any specific range. But I do think that it is valuable, it is flexible, and offers a lot of bulk.
I like your 3-segment Dudunsparce. Nice work.
Yeah, that's another way to flex.
The real ones noticed. I had a 3-segment Dudunsparce that I powered up just for this pre-show, you guys.
Aw, you spoil us.
The dedication to breaking down the meta for the viewers at home. And yeah, these are different packages, right, that you can kind of use as starting points to build around. We've got something more balanced, something more offensive with that dark typing. That looks like a lot of fun. Just click and delete everything in front of you. I don't know. Am I a spam user after all? But
you might be.
Oh, it's exciting to see the Den of Dragons out there. As you're talking to some of the players getting prepared for what is to come, I know you're pretty clued in. You're seeing a lot of this. Any hints who might end up in whose hands competitively? Any of these dragons got a home?
I don't think he'll mind me calling him out, but one of the best trainers in the NA out of pocket, I have seen him playing Shadow Tyranitar in practice tournaments. That's one of those Pokemon that needs a little bit of setup. You need a little bit of bulk built around it, but once it comes down to brass tacks, Tyranitar can chew through the opposition. So if you're battling pocket, watch out for that dark and rock type Pokemon.
Okay, well, we'll have to see if that's what he ends up bringing and if players can situate these key Pokemon to seal the deal in the endgame. But now we get to kick things over to Unite for another breakdown coming from Zoinks about the new map rotations they're going to be having for big tournaments going forward.
Yeah, I'm really excited to break this down a little bit. When we talked about LAIC before that event, all the big news was we were playing on the Groudon map, a new introduction to Thea Sky Ruins in kind of a new way. But now we have not only the Groudon map, we also have old school Rayquaza around still, but we are also adding in Kyogre, a brand new variant of Thea Sky Ruins. For anybody who's been watching competitive Pokemon Unite in our online tournaments or our regional league broadcasts, they might already be familiar with this format. But we are allowing teams to play on all 3 of these maps during the tournament, and it's kind of going to be up to them, which I'll explain a little bit more here in a second. For our tournament, the first game of any best of 3 or any best of 5 will be locked into it being Kyogre. So Kyogre fans, rise up. This is your time. You're going to see a whole lot of this map. You can see it on screen. Thea Sky Ruins gets a little bit of a facelift. There's a lot of watery goodness in the middle of the map. You might also notice that there is a ton more tall grass. Very important in any Pokemon title, but in ours specifically, in Pokemon Unite, anytime a Pokemon wanders into the tall grass, they become invisible to the enemy team. Very, very strong for Pokemon who are trying to move around the map a little more stealthily, set up some ambushes, and it makes it really hard on Pokemon who are more susceptible to that. So also, the Kyogre map boasts a introduction of a lot more healing. Not only does the final buff apply that effect after you knock out Kyogre, similarly to Groudon, it can be stolen. If you knock out an enemy Pokemon, you can steal that buff. But there's also 4 healing berries or 4 citrus berries in the middle of the map. So you'll notice Central Area players play a lot more aggressively or even more aggressively earlier because they can do some damage and actually grab those berries on the way back to clear their own Central without having to recall back to base. So a lot more focus on melee upfront damage in the Kyogre map. We already talked about Groudon, and we've seen Rayquaza for about 2 years, so I'm not going to go too in-depth on those ones. I want to talk a bit more about the rotation, though. Like I mentioned, Kyogre is going to be locked in for that first map. After the game 1 completes, the loser of that game number 1 will get to pick either draft side choice or map choice. At that point, they can choose. If they choose draft, they get to choose either first or second pick. If they choose map, they get to pick what map they want to follow Kyogre. It can be a repeat. So far in the regional leagues, we have seen by far the majority of teams electing to do the draft side selection, but every now and then we have a team or two who does slide into that map pick. So we'll see how that ends up being. I'll talk a little bit more about the differences, but before I do that,
just
I
real
want
quick,
to talk...
Zoinks, when the losing team chooses to go draft side or map, their opponents get the leftover option?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Good intuition. But the only time that changes is when we head to best of 5s. And in which case you can see there are 3 highlighted end boss Pokemon, as we like to call them. Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza. Rayquaza, of course, coming from the Den of Dragons. We'll work on. There it is. Thank you.
Still here.
Okay. So we have, of course, these 3 Pokemon. These 3 maps will be played in a best of 5 because no matter what, we are going to play at least 3 games, and which in games 4 and 5 will rotate back to the original way that we talked about previously. So best of 5s happen in our Unite tournaments when semifinals begin and our finals on Sunday. So just 3 matches will have those best of 5 rules.
Okay, so this is a lot of extra options that teams are going to have to supplement their drafts, as you said, with Kyogre, making melee and ambush type Pokemon being even more viable. When you're opening up a set and it's guaranteed to be that Kyogre map, we'll see the players and teams draft accordingly.
Yeah, you said.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
You said this draft format is already present in the online leagues. Have you noticed any correlation between favored maps and team play styles?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I actually think Groudon, to me, feels like the map choice you pick if you are extremely confident in your ability to win team fights. If you know that you have mechanically really strong players, oftentimes you will elect for a Groudon map selection. Not only because the buff that Groudon applies is that damage increasing buff, it is also, I would say, the easiest one to take back, even if you lose that major objective. Kyogre giving a healing buff can make it really tricky to knock out some of those Pokemon. Not to mention, Kyogre does debuff goal zones, so it makes it harder to repel an enemy attack after losing that objective. And Rayquaza gives an entire shield, which is almost like you're fighting a second Pokemon all of a sudden after they take out that Ray. So in that situation, Groudon actually gives you the chance, even if someone steals it right out from under your nose, you can still play to your routes and have a strong aggressive team and take those buffs back. However, some teams who are just having a stronger macro in the early game will favor that Kyogre. Not to mention, it is the map currently in the ranked ladder, so a lot of teams will have a lot more minutes on the Kyogre map currently. So that might be the most favored map. But in regional league play, Groudon and Kyogre are sitting both like the high 40%. Rayquaza, we're at a 3% map choice. So look out for those best of 5s. Yeah,
so Rayquaza will be making a little bit of a guest star appearance here and there, but overall we're looking forward to a lot of Groudon and some Kyogre to keep these sets wide open. But I think it's time for the moment that chat has been waiting for, certainly. We got to follow up on not just our predictions from the last preview show, but also throw down our picks for some new predictions for EUIC. So for the score, the numbers that have been presented to me, Rachel, 3 out of 4 predictions correct.
Oh my god.
The rest of us, only 1 out of 4. Rachel knows what she's doing.
Hold on, did I get a single there? I wasn't ready. It's my close-up.
Amazing. Amazing.
I copied all your homework, thank you.
But unfortunately, Will, 0, my guy.
He's Sam
Mathematically, that's actually more impressive.
Hey, if you want to guess right, do not pick what I pick.
Yeah.
And that's the advice that Twitch chat is going to have to take, because if you recall, one of our polls for the Twitch chat for their selection was tied, and as a courtesy, we let them have both choices, and they still only got 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
You got to lock in. Come on.
Twitch chat, that's embarrassing. Come on.
It's embarrassing. Yeah, exactly.
I love you, Twitch chat. Unite loves you, so it's okay.
No, you can't have them, Zoinks. Twitch chat, come back over here. I know he's the cool parent, but you've got 6 of us, so stick around. And
lock in.
Twitch chat, actually lock in, because we're going to tell you how this all goes. We've got a whole new round of predictions. Each one of our experts is going to share a question for the games that they are in charge of, and we are all going to try and answer. And Twitch chat, you are going to try and answer as well, so keep an eye on the chat. You'll have a little pop-up there. It'll show you how to engage. But I'm winning, so I guess I'll just tee up the first one here. Which Sarah Dawn you've got for us for VGC?
Yes, I'm running back the one I did from LAIC. If anyone thinks this looks familiar, it is. But I always just think that is such an interesting question. So it ended up being Japan. So Japan, Australia, other, that ended up winning for LAIC. Whereas everyone else had kind of predicted it to be NA or EU or LATAM trying to keep the title there, right?
Mhm.
So now for EUIC, when there's so much focus on Italy, but then there's so many great Japanese players, but then I gotta run it back. Which major region do we think is gonna win, everyone?
I'm casting my prediction for NA.
Ooh.
All right.
I'm going to follow up. I'm also going with North America. I think this is the bounce back. It was a lot of EU stealing North America titles last year. We're flipping to the other side of the coin this time.
Okay.
Just to go against Costa, I will go for EU.
Yes. Specifically Italy.
Specifically to go against Costa.
I feel like I was paying attention during Sierra's presentation, so I don't understand that there's a choice besides EU here. I feel like Italy has got a lot of fish in the water.
And I'm just getting word that Twitch chat has also locked in EU.
Oh no, wait, I might want to change mine then. Hold on.
No, they're just following you now.
Oh wait, Twitch chat, come on, we're doing EU Twitch
It's okay,
chat.
you haven't agreed with Will yet.
It's true.
Well, here it comes. I actually have to side with Joe and Rachel. I'm going to say EU, and the Italians will falter.
We should have asked Will first.
We're cursed.
That's your temperature
All right.
check. Ask me first.
Yeah, well, in spirits of never agreeing with Will,
Understandable.
this is a difficult one because it's like there is a lot of really strong Latin players that are going, but then also Japan and Australia, and then Japan did win LAIC, and then Shohei is on his EU arc right now. I'm gonna go with Japan, Australia, other. That's all one option, and maybe y'all just let me have LATAM because you guys are cool. But
I mean, Sierra always takes as many options as possible.
I'm looking to win, guys. Okay,
I know.
I'm looking to
Before
win.
the show, she was trying to get Italy included in that batch over there too. Specifically,
Just in
just
case.
Italy.
I should have put Italy by themselves for that one, make it difficult for you guys.
All right. And Twitch poll now. Go. Will. Go. What are the words? What is the hot take? What is...
Absolutely. So we're going to have usage charts basically at the end of day 1 and at the end of day 2. And we're going to literally paint which Pokemon was the most popular. So my question is, of the dragon types that I mentioned in the Den of Dragons,
Different one.
which one will be the most popular? We have Kingdra as an option. We have Dragalge as an option, and Zweilous. Now, I said Kingdra was the backbone of this group of dragons, but Dragalge was actually written about by my co-commentator Inadequence in his article for the Pokemon Company. He said that is going to be the premier dragon, whereas I think of it more of like a Poison Flex, and then Zweilous. I mean, if you're going to see Grimmsnarl or Spiritomb on every single team, why not bring Zweilous on every single team?
That's a good call. I'm going to throw my hat in for Zweilous. Hopefully the shiny variant as well. Topping that pie chart.
I like Dragalge a lot here. I think bugs are so rampant. I think you want that piece. So I'm going with Dragalge.
I think Will made a great case for the Kingdra, so I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm with Joe. I'm in fact with Twitch chat, who has also selected Kingdra. I'm going Kingdra.
I can't just keep going after you both because I'm also picking Kingdra as my number.
He's following you. He's got to pad those numbers. He's gotta
Okay,
get those
you know
numbers
what? It's
up.
fair. Will, we accept you. We just have to take everybody else. in.
All right, I'm gonna go. Inadequates we trust. Dragalge. I gotta try really hard to say that one right. That one's a tough
All right.
one.
And now we're jumping right over to TCG. What do you got for us, Joe, to predict?
Well, we said so much about the top 4 decks that we have in the game right now, but I'm looking for something that can break the mold, something that will perform the highest outside of those top 4. So I've selected these sort of other decks that in bits and pieces have done well and have made top cuts all respectively. So we've got Grimmsnarl, Flareon, Raging Bot, and Absol Toolbox to pick from here.
Kicking things off, I definitely want to go with Flareon. The Absol box, a great deck, but I don't know if anybody else can really play it at towards level. But Flareon, I've always been a believer. I think it's a great choice, and EUIC shows a little bit more love to those Terra box archetypes, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm going to lock in Marnie's Grimmsnarl. I think with just like these ICs, the fields being so huge, it's already a proven deck where, I mean, Raging Bolt kind of, but not anymore. With all these other ones, I think the Marnie's Grimmsnarl is going to rise to the top.
For me, a vote for Absol Box is a vote for Tord, so I will pick Absol Box.
Joe, not to copy your homework or nothing, but I mean, you talked about Absol Box. It's fresh in the mind. I'm feeling like it's a good choice.
Well, Grimmsnarl is one of the top Pokemon in Pokemon Go, so why not 2 titles at the same time? Give me Grimmsnarl.
You're
Okay.
banning us, Will.
And just before Sierra, you make your pick, Twitch chat also going with me and Flareon.
Hey.
Very cool.
For this one, I can't do Raging Bolt because I know it's a different Raging Bolt, but our world champ said it's not winning a trophy in Masters and didn't specify if it was VGC or TCG.
Some deep knowledge.
So that's off the list. I'm gonna vote for Tord. It'll be Absolbox.
All right. A lot of predictions riding on Tord, but now we're jumping over to Unite. What is our prediction now for this game, Zoinks?
We got a bunch of Mega Pokemon in Pokemon Unite now. They've been dominating the metagame for a little bit, a lot of bans, a lot of picks, but I want to know what's going to have the best win rate. If it makes it in a game, who is winning the most? Your options, Mega Lucario, Gyarados, Charizard X, Charizard Y, Mewtwo X, and Mewtwo Y. I'll start. I'm going to lock in the Mega Gyarados. I think the big fish is crazy, and I think it hits the note of players have had it around long enough that we have like masters emerging from it, and it's not just permanently banned, so players are actually getting used to it and have a willingness to play it, whereas opposed to some of the other options, maybe they don't have enough minutes on it. So I'm going to go with Gyarados.
I've been kind of starting us off with Mega Lucario. It's going to be my pick. Hopefully people will let it through a little bit more often as some of these stronger Pokemon start to eat bans, and the players who play it, they should play it well, specifically for me.
I'm going to piggyback off that as well. I think that seems to be the safe pick of this bunch. I feel like if it can squeak through, it's going to be... Its toolset is just really, really strong. I think Mega Lucario is great.
Before I answer, Zoinks, Mewtwo X or Mewtwo Y, you were mentioning one of them was seeing significantly less play than the other.
Yeah, I wouldn't go towards Mewtwo X if I were you, and that's not me trying to win this competition. It had its moment, it had a really fun moment the last couple of weeks, but after some recent nerfs, I don't think we're going to see very much Mewtwo X played at this tournament.
Well, then I'm going to go with Mewtwo Y, because it's Mewtwo's birthday, and I have respect for the OG.
Ain't that right?
Oh.
Happy birthday, Mewtwo.
That's the deep lore. I'm old.
All right, so I thought about this one a lot, Zoinks, because I knew you were going to ask a question about megas. And last time, I was more focused on pick rate, but I didn't consider the bans that would be coming through. So my answer this time around is actually Mega Charizard Y.
Ooh, that's a good option. That's a good option. I like that pick.
All right. I'm also going to do Mega Mewtwo Y. So same as Rachel here, but like, how dare you just throw in an option here to try and throw us all off to see if you pay attention with that like Mega Mewtwo X? Like you just kind of seem like you're preying on our downfall. See if somebody just quite isn't listening to what you're saying.
I can't kick one Mega out on its birthday. Okay, I had to include it.
Okay, yeah,
but it's fine because
X just like looking in the rain spattered window at the rest of the Mega.
And Twitch chat didn't fall for the bait either. They picked Mega Gyarados.
Hey.
Oh. Well done, Twitch chat. Good luck to all of us with our predictions, especially me, because I am most correct so far, and I like being on top, but I feel like my days are numbered here, so cannot wait to see how this all pans out. Of course, watching
Is it lucky, or is this the start of some kind of crazy prediction streak? Seltzer Damas over here.
Well, it's a year-long event. You got to keep tuning in. But we have a number of wonderful community members who have been tuning in, especially to answer our call for questions from the community. So we went to socials, we gathered those up, and if you are all amenable, we got a quick Q&A. Does that sound good?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Go.
Awesome. Sounds like we got a little bit of time. Do you want to kick things off?
Yeah, first question. This is from Dungy. What do you think about the open deck lists for Top Cut? Is it a good change for competitive? And actually, Joe, why don't you start us off with this one?
Yeah, I think this is just definitely a win-win all round. I think just purely from a tournament integrity standpoint, at that stage in the tournament, it's very likely that some of the players will have already been on stream. So if one of those players who has been on stream plays someone who hasn't, that player who hasn't possibly has an advantage because they could have the information of the opponent's list. So it basically just makes it a more level playing field, which is good. But also, we've already started to see that there's a different skill set on display when you can make plays with certainty based on your opponent's counts. It can create really different lines of play that you may not have sort of taken the risk on if you weren't so sure about it. So oftentimes in these top cut games, you'll see more rifling through your opponent's discard piles to see exactly what they have available to them, to know exact percentages and odds when you're making your decisions. So I think it really does benefit those players who can really absorb within that 2-minute period those deck lists. It can really sort of demonstrate different types of skills for those players. So I think it's an amazing change all around.
Yep, and that will result in some high-level play on display for such a massive tournament. And this next question I think will be great for kind of everybody. Just jump right in when you have your answer. Who's your favorite underdog in the tournament for your game?
Player or Pokemon?
Yeah. What are we thinking for underdogs?
I'll throw in a couple here. So, and I kind of wanted to talk about this anyways when we're talking about overall storylines, but I talked about the regional leagues. We have like basically 8 teams per region that are playing these constant tournaments. But because of that, we don't have as many just open bracket tournaments throughout the year. EUIC actually ends up being one of the only ones, especially for European players to get to. So I'm kind of excited for some of these teams who are on the outside looking in at this regional league to maybe make a splash and get the chance to play against some of these top teams. I know Rework Esport has 2 teams attending this event, a Rework Esport Core and Rework Esport Gear. It's gonna be really fun to say that in commentary, but I am excited about these 2 teams. They've been tearing it up in grassroots recently, and I'm excited to see if they can contend with these top level teams and make a case that like, watch us as we move forward towards Worlds and more regional leagues in the future.
That's a great shout.
Any other underdogs out in the field? Anybody coming to mind for you folks?
Pokemon?
All right, so for mine, like, I guess it's like what you count as an underdog or not. So this is someone who's not very prone to winning in finals, but definitely makes it to finals. I'm talking about Victor Medina. He is one of the nicest people in the entire VGC scene. He is so good at the game, and I don't know what Pokemon entity he angered because he makes it to the finals. He's had a lot of finals appearances, but just ain't winning it out. We got to see him at 25 LAIC make it to finals. Marco beat him there. We've gotten to see plenty of regionals. Like I feel like it's a curse. So that's my favorite underdog there in the tournament. One day he's gonna get that title, guys. He'll get that gold one day.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to rack my brain while you're all giving your answers about like Pokemon TCG, because there's just so many players. I haven't been able to even look over the whole list. So I might even name a player that might not be attending. TCG. Yeah, a good underdog deck. That's a good way to spin it, Joe.
In terms of deck, I think Enzoroark definitely fits that category in that it has the elements that can really challenge Gardevoir and Dragapult. It can tech the Watchtowers for the Charizard to just cripple their engine. And recently we've seen really heavy techs of Toedscruel for the Golden Go. So in terms of looking at a deck that only cares about beating the top 4 in the game, I think Enzoroark is the deck that really is always low in play rates, but has spiked a few tournaments. So that's my underdog.
That's my Joe.
For those enthusiasts.
All right, so I'm going to give you all 2. All right, I had some time to think. I've got 2 options here. Number 1, let's take it back to Nighttime Clasher's brother, Sustenance Eater. He's an NA trainer, team builder extraordinaire, very, very talented. I think that this is the event where he steps into his brother's shoes and actually performs really well. Top cut, or maybe even winning the whole thing. The second underdog pick here, everybody's talking about Spidops. Some people, like my co-caster Amanda, are talking about Shadow Beedrill with Bug Bite. But what about another Bug Bite Pokemon? What about Shadow Venomoth, who everybody seems to have forgotten, but I think it's viable.
Okay. Yeah, we know the bugs are kind of setting the pace for a lot of team comps and a lot of team decisions, right? Even Zoinks and yourself saying that Dragalge needs to be part of that conversation to counter. So Venomoth seems like a good underdog pick there.
Venomoth also has Psywave, which it can beat Dragalge pretty handedly with that psychic type.
That poison.
Oh, my worst enemy.
All right, we got one more question for you. This is from Hanny What is your favorite thing to do in the EUIC activity zone? Don't all rush to answer them.
No. I got an answer. So I won't be at EUIC, but I can infer that it's going to be similar and just as awesome. But at Worlds, there was like this pin trading, this pin rush, right? So you could have pins on your lanyard and then a little card as well that said like, I'm open to trading, and people would come up to you and you could trade pins with them, right? And you would go around the venue. There was pins at different places. I don't know exactly how it's working at UIC, but I saw a couple of people posting that they're going to be involved with this pin trading and stuff. And I don't know, it was such a fun time at Worlds that I can only imagine that it's going to be just as fun at EUIC.
Well, that's a great chat. I love the community building of pin trading. You just have a great reason to talk to so many people.
It's so fun.
I know, we need a little bit more.
The fan art on display is always one of the most impressive things. So many people sit down, spend hours on some gorgeous fan art, and there's a great display for all of that. So even if you're just passing by and, still involved in the main event, find some time to go to the activity zone, check out some of the amazing artists that just love drawing these things. And even if you're not as good at drawing, there's going to be some lovely templates for you, so you can just do some coloring in, which I definitely take advantage of as well.
Yeah, sign me and Joe up for that. That's great. I like the Doug Trio ring toss. I know I like a ring toss. So you put Pokemon into it too. Give me a Doug Trio ring toss. That's my favorite.
Are you tossing Ekans loops?
Oh, that's
just rings.
Okay.
I'm so old.
Okay, well, I'm just passing on a suggestion. A la Coliseum.
Hey, we'll run it up the ladder, but it sounds fun.
That's a great reference, Rachel.
I'm dating myself there.
The deep cuts are coming in here at the 11th hour, but yeah, I mean, just stay tuned, folks, for so many other things that are going to be going on at the EUIC Activity Zone, and I know that Joe has one last-minute activity for us here on the broadcast. What do you got for us?
Well, I don't know how this was approved, but because we are coming to London, I thought I could help you guys out with some British slang. And this is one of the capitals of cuisine and all sorts of different options in the UK. So we're going to do a little fun segment, a little go around for everyone. A segment that we're calling Can You Eat It? Where I'm going to give you guys an expression, a phrase, and you have to tell me if it's food or if it's not food. So I'll give you a quick example. If I was to say like bangers and mash, for example, that is clearly sausages and mashed potato, which is a food. You guys can give me a thumbs up that it's food.
Oh, yes, clearly.
So
I mean,
the first one.
I would have got that.
So there's your example. That's the easy one. Okay.
And it's, is it a food, not can you eat it if you're determined, right?
Right. I really hope you don't eat it, I suppose. We'll start off with argy bargy. Are we thinking food or not food?
I'm so American that I thought that this was argy bargy.
Okay. Going argy bargy is not a food.
No, that sounds like
sounds like a boat.
It reminds me of like a sandwich for some reason, like bargy barbecue.
Well, a bargy would be like a curried food, but an argy bargy is an argument or a bit of pushing and shoving. We'd say it's a bit of argy bargy if you're in an argument with someone.
Okay.
So some good thumbs down there. Next up, we have bits and bobs. Food or not food?
Sounds edible.
Bits and bobs.
Is that just like a generic term for stuff?
I keep my bits and bobs in like the sugar cookie tin, but they're not sugar cookies.
Reminds me of like
exactly
the pretzel
correct.
mixes.
Yeah, it does sound like pretzel mix, but bits and bobs is just odds and ends. It's just random items that you would throw exactly in like a cake tin that you've finished the cake with, and little bits and bobs. All right.
I should have known I was wrong when I saw Will also put it.
I was gonna say, yeah. Just wait for me to go up.
All right. Next up, we have bubble and squeak. Bubble and squeak.
Nothing's been food so far. Surely we get food eventually.
That's like a better game. The list.
What would a bubble and squeak even be as food?
You like a squeak?
I think we're about to find out.
I'm so excited. Blow my mind, Joe.
Well, bubble and squeak is a food. It's, of course, mashed potato and cabbage fried together. It's called bubble and squeak because that's the sound it makes as you cook it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
This one sounds like you're making it up.
I don't believe in that one.
What is the British slang for you're lying to my face?
That's a bubble and squeak right there. He's bubbling and squeaking.
He's bubbling and squeaking us right now.
Hey, don't have yourself an argy bargy right now, okay?
Yeah, that's what the British Zoomers say when you get cooked. You're getting bubbled and squeaked, bro.
In this argy bargy we're having.
All right, we do have a couple more, I think. How about eat and mess? food or not food? Eaten mess.
I think that's a stop on the train.
It sounds like a location.
Eaten mess is a food. It's a traditional dessert.
4 for 4.
Berries and cream, mostly. Yeah.
English is not a serious language.
Eaten mess.
Great.
Quite a rich
I'm learning I
dessert.
should move to England.
Right, I've
I
got
swear
2
these are
more
just
for you.
keyboard mashes.
I've got 2 more. So we have Gordon Bennett. Is Gordon Bennett food or not food?
Sounds like a
I've learned that I need to go against my gut now.
I don't even know anymore, man.
I hope this is just a football player. No,
It's just a person.
player.
This is not food, nor is it a person. You use this expression if you're surprised or like if something's frustrated to you. So you would shout Gordon Bennett if something has like gone wrong, or like if you stub your toe, you would say Gordon Bennett, for example.
Where does it even need to
originate
Google a bunch of
from?
stuff after?
Yeah.
I unfortunately don't have the information on the origin story. I only have my notes.
I only have my whole life growing up in this country.
The last one we have is hundreds and thousands. Is this food or not food?
Yeah, it's food for sure.
Sounds like
I made
maybe a
way too many people put their
candy or a
notes up.
dessert of some kind.
It's unanimous.
We have alignment on this one. This is like sprinkles that we'd use on top to decorate cakes. So there you go. So well played all around on that one. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. That ended up working out way better than I had in my mind. So,
I enjoyed that immensely, Joe. And I hope our viewers who are intending to head out to EUIC have all learned something, maybe at the restaurants.
yes.
That'll come into play.
Just be careful out there at the restaurants, yeah.
Ice cream.
All right, well, we've had such a great show packed so full of information. You all have brought so much for us to think about in the lead up to EUIC. But as we say goodbye, I want to go around the room and let you share at least one more thought for all of us to think about. And Zonix, why don't you start us off?
Sure. Thank you everybody so much for tuning into this pre-show. This is going to be such a fun event. If we haven't been doing a great job of telling you that yet, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We got hundreds and thousands over there, which is going to be my first order, I think. So I'm excited.
Latest sprinkles.
Just sprinkles, just a mountain of sprinkles.
I just retained one thing, so I'm keeping it.
Yep, I'm really looking forward to this IC, but also bear in mind that we have 2 regionals this weekend as well across the globe, so there could be even more last-minute developments heading into this tournament that you really have to keep your eye on. So keep an eye on some of the stuff happening this weekend, and maybe have those last-minute tweaks as you head into the IC, because it's so important to keep on top of these things.
And Sierra?
I'm just really excited to see what's going to be happening at our second IC of the year. I mean, every IC, like the regionals, IC's another level. If you're attending for the first time, just enjoy the most of it. For anyone who's spectating, make sure you sign up for NAIC, whether it's spectating or playing, because it's going to be awesome. And last but not least, this is Alan. I lost him 2 years ago at EUIC. If you find him, please let me know. I'm still holding
Alan,
out hope
if you're
that he's
out there,
somewhere.
please call home.
Alan.
Poor Alan.
Make that happen soon.
So I'll just say that this is going to be the biggest event for competitive Pokemon Go in history. Over 500 trainers have already signed up. I'm really excited for that. There's a lot of growth, a lot to be excited for going forward. This is also a much wider meta than what we had at LAIC. So if you were watching the LAIC stream and you're like, oh, I'm sick of seeing Turtonator, oh, another Oranguru, and you kind of felt like you had gone through the motions at some point, this one's going to be a lot more fun, a lot more dynamic. There's a lot of interplay. I can't wait to see the different matchups and what these players bring, because, I mean, when else are you going to see Grimmsnarl taking on Spidops and then a Dragalge just comes in and crashes the whole party? It's going to be crazy.
Correct.
Yeah, I hope we get that Dragons.
Well said. This is going to be an event for the ages, and I want to thank once again our panelists for giving their thoughts, their breakdowns, and their humor to make this such a great show. Thank you so much, everybody. But we have just a couple more things for Seltzer and I to take care of as we wrap up this show. Don't forget to tune in. EUIC, it's going to be in a different time zone, sometimes unfamiliar to some of you in the audience. 1 a.m. PT, 4 a.m. ET, and 9 a.m. GMT. Make sure you get the proper time for your time zone and set your alarms right now so you don't forget, so you can tune in and get those drops.
Yeah, it's happening at different times all around the world, but it's all happening in the same place, so make sure you head on over to champions.pokemon.com. That's where you can find all the streams, all the action, and that's where you can make sure you're picking up all the drops, because we have got a lot to give away at EUIC as well.
Yeah, so you're going to be there in the chat February 13th to 15th at the right time that we just told you. And here's a quick lowdown of everything you'll be able to get by hanging out and watching the broadcast. Take a screenshot right now, refer back to this, and get a leg up if you're looking to jump into a new game if something really catches your attention at EUIC. I do want to thank everyone on the crew, our panelists once more, and everybody in the audience for making this such a fantastic show. And I can't wait to see you all in the chat or in person at EUIC in London. So we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.